Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Sasuke is secretly a girl and likes Naruto Sakura bashing. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by LeilaDarkholm and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. At Team 7 training grounds. Where is Sasuke-kun? Sakura wondered aloud. He's even later than Kakashi. Naruto added. Naruto, go check on Sasuke at his house to make sure he's okay. Kakashi ordered. No way, sensei. We should go as a team. Sakura argued. I don't think Sasuke would like so many people in his house, Sakura. But it would only be the three of us. And Sasuke's standard, Sakura-chan, that's too many. Sakura couldn't come up with anything else, so she kept quiet. Seeing that Sakura had given up and arguing, Naruto raced off to the Uchiha compound, leaving Kakashi and Sakura alone. So Sakura, how about we get started on those push-ups? Sakura groaned, oh how she hated training. She'd much rather stalk Sasuke and drool over his greatness than doing anything else. At the Uchiha compound. Naruto kicked Sasuke's bedroom door opened, yo Sasuke. Wake up team. Naruto only heard a tired groan in response. He walked inside and saw that Sasuke had completely covered his entire body with his bed covers. Naruto smirked when a devious idea formed in his mind. He could get a punch in the face for it, but hey, the look on Sasuke's face would really make his day. Going over to Sasuke's bed, pulled the covers off of him, making him fall off of the bed. What the fuck? Now that made Naruto freeze. That voice didn't belong to Sasuke, it sounded somewhat like him, but high-pitched like a girl's. Naruto blinked when he saw a girl where Sasuke should be, glaring at him. What the hell was that for you, dope? Naruto blinked his eyes again and studied the girl in front of him who he secretly suspected was Sasuke, but gender changed. Her features became softer, her cheeks a bit more chubbier, her jawline less masculine. Her hair stayed the same, except maybe her bangs were slightly longer. Her eyes were also the same obsidian onyx, but her eyelashes were longer. Damn, I wonder if he realizes. That's when Naruto looked lower. Yup, definitely a girl. Damn. He even has a chest. Sasuke was confused at Naruto's staring. What the heck was he looking at? Sasuke looked down and nearly shrieked in horror. What the? Quickly, Sasuke made a dash to her full-length mirror, almost making Naruto's nose bleed. Why? Simple. Sasuke was wearing a white singlet and boxers, and because of her new chest, her new breasts were evident, as easily seen from the thin material of the singlet she was wearing that made the shape of her new nipples obvious, almost making Naruto faint. When Sasuke got to the mirror, she stared at her reflection in pure horror as she studied her new features. Hell, she was even shorter than before. As short as Naruto even. This. Naruto couldn't help but feel pity for Sasuke. Imagine, your manhood taken away from you overnight. Naruto shook his head, but what shocked him next scarred him for life. Sasuke screamed, a loud high-pitched blood-curdling scream. When the scream stopped, Naruto's ears were ringing. Stupid Sasuke. You didn't have to scream. But before Naruto could yell at Sasuke, he did something Naruto didn't see coming. Sasuke cried. Tears fell from her dark onyx orbs. Fuck. Sasuke swore in tears. What am I going to do? I can't revive my clan, I lost my precious family jewels. Sasuke continued sobbing and Naruto didn't know what to do. Shit. What should I? Suddenly, Sasuke's door burst open again. Sasuke-kun. Sakura called out happily. Naruto quickly covered his ears, knowing what was going to happen next. Sakura turned her head and saw Sasuke. Sasuke looked up and Sakura was taken aback when she saw her face. Sasuke. How? What? He's turned into a girl. Sakura screamed and fainted. Lucky for her, Kakashi caught her before she could fall on the ground. Kakashi studied Sasuke for a while and finally said. Wash up and put on your bathrobe. Meet me in the living room to tell us what happened. Naruto, you come too. And with that, Kakashi picked up Sakura bridal style and carried her away. Casting another glance at Sasuke, Naruto left too. I wonder how this would turn out. Kakashi wondered. Tsuteneko. Tired. Naruto. Wow, that's long. Sasuke. I can't believe you made a femsasu. Tsuteneko. I've been itching too. I can't wait to see the responses. Naruto. Tsuteneko-chan. Sasuke is being mean. Tsuteneko. Sasuke. Don't be mean. Sasuke. HN. Tsuteneko. I twitches, are you trying to piss me off? Sasuke. Shrugs his shoulders. Tsuteneko. And what is that supposed to mean? Naruto. Tsuteneko-chan does not own Naruto because if she did, she would make sure Sasuke suffered in every chapter of the Naruto manga. Tsuteneko. You damn right I would. Kakashi listened quietly to Naruto's story while Sakura sat in the corner, away from the world. They could hear her mutter over and over again, Sasuke's a girl now, Sasuke a girl now. Finally Sasuke appeared. Why did you take so long? Kakashi asked. I had trouble finding my robe. Sasuke replied before sitting down next to Naruto on the couch. Kakashi nodded from his spot on the armchair. Okay Sasuke, I need to ask you, did you drink anything yesterday that may have tasted weird, smelled weird? Sasuke just looked at him. The thing is, all I drank was a bottle of water. I set out to train in the morning and then I fainted from exhaustion. I woke up with full chakra levels at 6 p.m. I trained again and then when I thought that was enough training for the day, I went home. Because I was thirsty, I took a bottle from my fridge and finished it. Where's the bottle now? Naruto asked him. In the trash can. Naruto got up and went over to the trash can and when he looked inside, he saw that the trash can was empty except for the bottle. He took it out, unscrewed the cap and sniffed it. So how does it smell? Kakashi asked. Normal, nothing strange, he told him as he passed Kakashi the bottle to take a look. Kakashi sniffed the bottle too and agreed with Naruto, nothing strange. He held the bottle up higher in the light and his eye widened, the bottle was glowing blue. We'd better take this to Tsunade-sama so she can take a look. Naruto nodded, but Sasuke looked hesitant. Do I have to go too? Kakashi blinked at him, well of course you have to Sasuke, if not how is Tsunade-sama going to help you? Sasuke sighed, defeated, alright, let me shower and change first. Sasuke got up to leave, but Kakashi stopped her. By the way Sasuke, I suggest you try to rummage around for a bra that could fit or at least bind up your chest. That made Naruto's face flame, remembering the earlier incident with Sasuke and her singlet. Kakashi's right though. Mikoto Uchiha had size C cup too. To think of it, so did Hinata's mum. Damn. Do all women of the Dojutsu clans inherit big breasts? Sasuke meanwhile was contemplating whether or not she should slap Kakashi. After all Sasuke, Kakashi continued after a pause, you wouldn't want your new nipples showing all the time through your shirt right? Sasuke's face turned red and he slapped Kakashi, leaving an equally red slap mark to appear on the masked Jounin's face. Stupid pervert Kakashi. Sasuke yelled as he stomped off in anger. Naruto couldn't help but laugh his ass off at that. 10 minutes later. Sasuke came out of his room and Naruto tried his best not to laugh at his teammate. His clothes were several sizes too big. Was I really that fat? He heard her mumble to herself. Kakashi heard her too and shook his head, no Sasuke, girls are naturally smaller and curvier. But then, what can I do now? I have no other clothes. There's no way I can go out. Actually, I might have an idea. Kakashi and Sasuke raised eyebrows at Naruto's smirk. What do you have in mind? Kakashi asked. Naruto didn't answer, instead, he turned to face Sasuke. Sasuke, go to your room and change out of those clothes. Put on your robe and give me the clothes. Why? What are you going to do? Sasuke asked, her curiosity getting the better of her. Just do it. Naruto told her impatiently. Sasuke turned on her heel and went to her room. Naruto turned to Sakura then, say Sakura, could you? But when he saw Sakura, he stopped. Her eyes were dead, lifeless. He had seen those symptoms on Hinata before. Naruto walked over to Sakura and gently asked her, do you want to lie down for a minute? Sakura nodded her head numbly in response. Would you mind if I carry you to the couch? Sakura didn't reply, so Naruto took that as a yes. He carefully picked her up bridal style, walked over to the couch and laid her down. Naruto stroked her cheek, leaned forward and whispered in her ear, I'll hear for you. Sakura didn't respond and closed her eyes, but Naruto didn't mind. He took off his jacket, revealing the short-sleeved black shirt he wore underneath and put his jacket over the pink-haired genin to keep her warm. It was rather chilly this morning. Casting one last glance at her, he took off in search for what he needed. I didn't know Naruto could be so gentle, Kakashi thought. Then Sasuke came back and noticed that Naruto was gone. Where's the dope, Kakashi? Kakashi was about to answer him, but he saw that her eyes had wandered over to Sakura. Why does she have her jacket? Before Kakashi could reply, Naruto came back. Good, you have the clothes. Could you put in on the table? Sasuke did so and noticed that Naruto had put his mother's old sewing machine and sewing kit on the table as well. Why do you have those? Sasuke asked him. I'm going to sew you new clothes from your old ones, of course. Naruto replied before sitting down and making himself comfortable on the armchair. Kakashi blinked his eye in surprise, you know how to sew? Yup. Anyway sensei, how about you head off first and explain the situation to Bachan while the girls and I stay here? Kakashi smiled in amusement at Sasuke's face when Naruto said the girls and I. Alright, then Naruto. I'll see you kids later. Kakashi performed several hand signs and disappeared in a swirl of leaves, leaving the 13-year-olds alone. Naruto. Sasuke, you do it, I did it for the past chapters. Sasuke. Sigh and monotonously says Tsuteneko does not own Naruto. Sasuke was bored, so bored that she started to converse with Naruto. Who taught you to sew? Iruka-sensei, Naruto replied without looking up, completely focused on his work. Why did he teach you how to sew? Because when I was younger, I kept ripping my clothes and Iruka-sensei was getting tired of fixing them for me, so he taught me to do it on my own, so that he didn't have to. Why did you keep ripping them? What is this 20 questions? Naruto asked, looking up at the Uchiha. Sasuke could sense irritation evident in his voice. He probably doesn't like to be disturbed when he's working. I'm bored. I need entertainment. Naruto shook his head. Whatever you say. And Naruto continued on with his work, but unfortunately for him, Sasuke started talking to him again. So, why are you doing this? Naruto continued doing his work but still answered, doing what? Making you clothes. Yeah. Naruto looked up at Sasuke, smiling as he answered, simple, because you're my friend. Sasuke didn't know nor did she understand why she felt her face turn red when she saw Naruto's smile and she immediately placed her hands on her cheeks to feel the warmth. What is this? She looked at Naruto again, he was smiling at her, not that goofy grin he always showed, but a real smile. Sasuke turned away, she could feel her face turning redder the more she thought about Naruto's smile. Naruto was confused though, he didn't understand why Sasuke was acting the way she was until he noticed her red face. Immediately he got up and leaned his face close to Sasuke's. Are you sick, Sasuke? Your face is red. Unfortunately, this just made the redness of Sasuke's face to intensify. Naruto then put his hand on Sasuke's head to check his temperature, well you are kind of hot. Sasuke couldn't take it anymore and screamed, stop it already. Naruto drew his hand back and blinked his eyes at her, confused. Stop what? Sasuke started to panic, I need to go to the bathroom. With that, she ran out of there and made a mad dash to the bathroom. With the door locked behind her, she slid down to the floor, bringing her knees to her face and hugging them to herself. What is going on with me? 15 minutes later, she heard Naruto calling her name. Sasuke. Are you done yet? I need you to try the clothes. Sasuke got up, opened the door and came face to face with Naruto. Dear Naruto gave him the clothes. Sasuke blinked at them, she still couldn't believe he finished it already. Give me 5 minutes. Quickly, she closed and locked the door again before changing into her new clothes. Naruto sighed. Sasuke's acting really weird. Wonder why. Then, he remembered Sakura. Naruto went back to the couch and saw Sakura sleeping peacefully, gently breathing in and out. Naruto smiled as he gently moved some strands of her pink hair away from her face and caressed her cheek. I really hope you don't take long to recover like Hinata did, Sakura. Naruto. Naruto turned and saw Sasuke fully dressed. And Naruto had to admit, she looked good. She was wearing a blue sleeveless shirt with a raised collar with the Uchiha crest on the back and had worn matching blue fingerless gloves on her hands. She wore white shorts that ended at mid-thigh and had bandages wrapped around both her legs from below the knee to the ankle. She wore her shinobi headband on her forehead and her regulation blue shinobi sandals. Her bangs hung from both sides of her face and the rest of her hair was tied in a ponytail. I like it. Thanks, Naruto. If Naruto had looked closer, he would have noticed a small blush on Sasuke's face as she said it. Besides that, Sasuke's thank you had caught Naruto off guard, he would have never dreamed for him to hear Sasuke actually say thank you. Maybe Sasuke changing into a girl wasn't all that bad. My Uchiha. Don't you look cute? Naruto turned and widened his eyes in surprise, Ba-chan. Shizune Ni-chan. Pervy Sage. Kakashi-sensei. Tsuteneko. Still crying. Naruto. Yeah. Thanks so much. Sasuke. Chan, whatever. Can we get on with the story? Tsuteneko. Sure. But you have to do the disclaimer. Sasuke. Sigh Tsuteneko does not own Naruto. Tsuteneko. Sigh sadly I don't. Hello Gaki. Tsunade greeted. What are all of you doing here? Naruto asked. See Sasuke of course Shizune replied. Jiraiya shook his head, my god, when I saw Sasuke, I thought I saw a ghost. You really do look so much like your mother Sasuke. Really? I really look like my mom? The adults nodded and Sasuke felt great waves of happiness and pride well up inside her. Thank you. Kakashi froze, am I hearing things or did I just hear Sasuke say thank you? Tsunade smirked, looks like Sasuke turning into a girl isn't all that bad. Sasuke silently seethed in anger, he hated being teased at. Geez, why the heck did I say thank you in the first place? So Ba-chan, did you get back the results from the bottle? I did. But Sasuke, I'm afraid you have to sit down for this. Sasuke went over to the couch, sat down and looked up at the blonde Hokage, waiting for her to speak. Tsunade took a deep breath and began to speak. I took a swab of the bottle and examined it. According to our database, the water you drank Sasuke was from an old watering hole on a cliff in the outskirts of Kurigakure. The water in the watering hole had very special properties. It was able to make any man who drank it turn to female. Sasuke kept quiet so Tsunade continued. Legend goes that there was a woman named Kasumi who was engaged to a young man named Ikuto. However, unknown to her, Ikuto was actually conducting a harem behind her back. Later, she had learned about it and swore that she would make him regret cheating on her. Ikuto had a special place he would go to relax and take a drink, an old watering hole. Kasumi, who knew of this, went to the watering hole and cursed the water there. Some say she went to an old witch to help her. Anyway, the next day when Ikuto visited the watering hole and drank its water, he turned to a female. Kasumi confronted him and laughed at him, saying it was his own fault. Ikuto, enraged, pushed her off the cliff, but Kasumi was quick and pulled Ikuto with her, and they both fell off the cliff and died. Sasuke still kept quiet and Tsunade sighed. Unfortunately, the water in that watering hole was reported to have dried up decades ago. So then, how was I able to drink that water if it was said to dry up years ago? Sasuke asked, finally speaking. That's what we intend to find out. Don't worry, Sasuke, we'll try our best to find a way to turn you back to normal. We promise. Sasuke just nodded her head numbly. It was silent for a moment until Shizune spoke up again. Why is Sakura sleeping through all of this? Naruto answered, well, you guys know how crazy Sakura is about Sasuke, right? Well, when she saw Sasuke as a girl, she kind of broke down. Tsunade sighed, let's wake her up so I can see her eyes. Naruto and Tsunade went over to the sleeping Pinket and Naruto proceeded to wake her up. When she opened her eyes, her emerald green eyes emotionlessly met Tsunade's light brown ones. Definitely a trauma. Best to keep her under watch. Naruto, take her to the hospital, okay? Naruto nodded, took back his jacket from Sakura to wear it and asked her if it was okay to carry her. She didn't respond, but Naruto carried her anyway. I'll be off then. Jiraiya opened the door for Naruto, thanked the perverted sage for his help and walked through it with a quiet Sakura in his arms. I don't get it. Tsunade turned to see Sasuke with a confused look on her face. What is it, Sasuke? Why did Naruto ask Sakura if it was okay to pick her up if he was just going to carry her anyway? You need to be gentle with trauma patients. If Sakura didn't want to be carried, she would have shown some sort of response, but she didn't. Meaning, she didn't mind. Sasuke's lips pursed into a tight frown, and another thing, I don't like how gentle he is with her. Why does he take it upon himself to take care of her? It's not like they're family or anything. Kakashi frowned, but Sasuke, you know Naruto. He really likes Sakura, you know that. But he gave up on her. He told me so himself. Haven't you noticed that he stopped asking her out on dates? A knowing smirk started to form on Jiraiya's face. You know Uchiha, it seems to me that you're getting frustrated. Perhaps you are jealous. Sasuke's face turned red slightly at the accusation, and no. Of course not. Kakashi smirked too, oh really? Then why did you stutter? I did not. Shizune and Tsunade laughed. Tsunade stopped first, okay, jokes aside. Sasuke, I need you to come with me and Shizune to the hospital. Huh? Why? I need to make sure your gender change didn't affect your health in any way. Sasuke sighed, she hated hospitals. Alright. Good, now Kakashi, go and tell Sakura's mother that her daughter has been admitted to the hospital as well. Kakashi nodded and poofed away. Jiraiya smiled then, well, since you ladies are heading off, I'll just go back to my research. Not so fast, you old hermit. You're coming with us. Why? Because you're going to help Sasuke with his shopping bags later. Sasuke blinked, what shopping bags? Well, after your tests are done, Tsunade-sama and I will take you out shopping and buy you some new clothes. Then why do I have to carry them? Jiraiya interjected. Tsunade scowled, because I'm the Hokage and I tell you to. Jiraiya grumbled and Sasuke sighed. This is just not my day. Tsuteneko. Yawn, I'm tired. Sasuke. I hate you. Tsuteneko. Why? Suniko. Because you turned me into a girl. Tsuteneko. Hey, femsises are really uncommon and my hands were just itching to write it. I love writing uncommon stuff. Sasuke. Because you're a weird girl. Tsuteneko. Everybody is weird, damn it. Now do the disclaimer. Sasuke. Sai Tsuteneko does not own Naruto. Rin-san. Rin turned to see her favorite blonde and smiled. Naruto. How have you been? Good, but I have a new trauma patient for you. He answered, gesturing to the sleeping girl he had in his arms. Rin looked at the girl that was sleeping in Naruto's arms and immediately recognized her, Sakura Haruno. The Haruno heiress. Naruto nodded. Okay, I have a room for her upstairs, follow me. Once they were in the lift, Rin spoke again. So, what caused her trauma? Sasuke turning into a girl. Naruto simply replied. Rin looked at him disbelievingly. I'm not joking. Honest. Naruto defended himself. Really? Yes, really. How? Somebody switched the water in his water bottle with gender-changing water. Who would go through all that trouble just to turn the Uchiha into a girl? Rin asked, raising an eyebrow. Somebody who must really hate him, I guess. So how is she handling it so far? Better than this morning. What happened this morning? The brunette asked, her curiosity piqued. He cried. You mean Shirin corrected Wait cried. Are you serious? Her eyes widening and surprised. Dead serious. She screamed too. He told her. Wow. The lift door opened and the two stepped out. Naruto followed Rin to Sakura's new room. Once inside, Naruto gently laid the sleeping Pinket down on her bed and tucked her in. I'll have my people take good care of her, Naruto. Don't worry. At that moment, the room door opened and Kakashi stepped inside with a woman next to him. The woman had long pink hair and emerald green eyes, the very spitting image of Sakura. She was wearing a long-sleeved white top, black pants and white sandals. Naruto's thoughts then went into overdrive when he saw her. She must be Sakura's mom. Wow, they're spitting images of each other. Except her mom has a chest. The big one too, probably a C-cup. The Kakashi greeted, breaking Naruto's train of thought. How did you find us? Rin asked him. I can smell your perfume a mile away, Rin-chan, he says, winking at his girlfriend. Rin rolled her eyes and Naruto shook his head. I still can't believe you're dating him, Rin-san. Immediately a pulse throbbed on Rin's forehead. Call me Ni-chan, Naruto. Okay. Naruto quickly said, seeing her angry face. Immediately Rin ruffled Naruto's hair with a smile on her face. Good boy. Kakashi sweat dropped. She must be pmsing again. What did you say, Kakashi? Rin asked, glaring at him. Crap, I said it out loud. Kakashi sweat dropped. Nothing, Rin-chan. Nothing at all. She's scary when she's mad. Rin smiled, good. Naruto sweat dropped at Rin's mood swing, but before he could comment on it, he noticed Sakura's mother holding Sakura's hand in hers and speaking. Odd, Sakura, how many times have I told you that you will never win the Uchiha's heart? His heart is as cold as ice. He's an arrogant pompous ass that doesn't deserve your love, but you still liked him anyway. I told you before already, a ninja life with a dead set mind on winning the Uchiha's heart will get you nowhere and only give you troubles. Now look at you. Haruno-san. She turned around to face him, yes. I'm Naruto. I brought Sakura-chan here. She smiled then, I know. And thank you for looking after her so well. Your sensei told me about how gently you've been treating her. Naruto laughed embarrassed, ah well, Sakura-chan is my friend after all. The Pinket just smiled even wider, either way, thank you. Kakashi frowned underneath his mask, Haruno-san, why do you hate Sasuke so much? Immediately, she frowned, he's arrogant, disrespectful, rude. Kakashi interrupted her in mid-rant, we get it, Haruno-san, you don't like him for his attitude. You mean her, Rin corrected. Right, her. The Pinket snorted, good thing too, this new gender change will definitely deflate that stupid ego of his. Hers, Naruto corrected. Right. And suddenly out of nowhere, she leaned forward and kissed Naruto on the forehead, causing Naruto to blush and the other adults in the room to chuckle at his embarrassment. Well then, I need to get going. Naruto, thank you again for taking such good care of my daughter. I really appreciate it, she says as she got up from her chair. And no, problem Haruno-san. Sakura's mother smiled again, bent down, kissed Naruto on the cheek and whispered in his ear, you can call me Sasayaki-san, Naruto-kun. Immediately, Naruto's face reddened to a shade similar to that of a tomato's. Downstairs. Sasuke, Jiraiya, Tsunade and Shizune had just entered into the hospital when Sasuke noticed Naruto coming out of the lift. Boy dope. Naruto looked up and Sasuke blinked. Why is his face so red? What happened? Sasuke asked. And nothing. Bullshit, what happened, dope? What are you doing here anyway? Naruto asked, changing the topic immediately. Well, we're here to run a health check on Sasuke-chan. To make sure nothing affected her in any way when she changed gender, Jiraiya answered for Sasuke. The gender-changed ninja's eye twitched before stepping hard on the pervert's foot. Don't call me Sasuke-chan, you old pervert. Immediately Tsunade, Shizune and Naruto burst in laughter whilst Jiraiya jumped up and down, clutching his injured foot like a fool. After a while Naruto stopped laughing, oh man, that was funny. But I really have to go now. Go where? Shizune asked. The Ino-chan. I want to ask her for help on what flowers to get for Sakura when I visit tomorrow. Well, see you later. Naruto said as he waved to them goodbye before running out of the hospital. Then Sasuke remembered something. He got out of answering my question. That bastard. Jiraiya. Why did I get stepped on? Tsuteneko. Because you're a pervert. Naruto. Also because Tsuteneko-chan hates perverts. Tsuteneko. Damn straight I do. Naruto. She's like a mini Tsunade when she's around perverts. Jiraiya. Are you serious? Crap, I've got to remove that camera before she notices it. Tsuteneko. Eyes widens what camera? Jiraiya. Shit. Tsuteneko. Cracks knuckles you're dead you old perverted hermit. Chases after Jiraiya. Tsuteneko. You're lucky you ducked. Sasuke. Sweat drop. Naruto. Anyways, Tsuteneko-chan does not own me. Dadabeo. The next day. Rolling over, Sasuke let out a huge groan. She had just heard the doorbell ring and odds are that she would have to get up from her ever so comfy bed. But after lying there, hoping that the person would just go away, she realized that the ringing chimes of the doorbell just continued, irritating her. Cursing at whoever had come up with the stupid idea of creating a doorbell, Sasuke moved to get out of bed and tiredly opened her eyes. She rubbed her eyes as she slowly made her way out of the bedroom and to the front door of her room. Frowning, slightly pissed that she was awoken, Sasuke opened the door and glared at the person who had been ringing at her doorbell. What the hell do you want? Neji blinked his eyes as if awaking from a dream, not believing what he was seeing. In front of him was a girl that had a very uncanny appearance to the Uchiha. Who was this girl? Neji then proceeded to study her. She was wearing a white camisole and navy blue shorts, a common sleepwear for all girls. She had long dark hair similar to the Uchiha's own hair color, but also like him, she wore her bangs so that they could frame her face. Do I really have to repeat myself, Hyuga? What the hell do you want? Sasuke asked, getting irritated. Finally, Neji activated his Byakugan to see her chakra system. And then he realized that he recognized her chakra, she really was Uchiha Sasuke. How did you turn into a girl Uchiha? Somebody swapped my water bottle with gender-changing water. Now, would you finally tell me what the fuck did you wake me up for? She asked, losing patience. I was wondering whether you knew where Naruto was. Sasuke raised an eyebrow at that, why are you looking for him? I need to talk to him about something. About what? It doesn't concern you Uchiha. It concerns the dope doesn't it? The dope is my teammate, so whatever concerns him, concerns me. Bullshit. Everyone knows that you and your teammates have never worked together as a team ever since you've been given the title Team 7, and it's all because of the arrogant ass that you are which lies the reason for that. Sasuke sweat dropped, everyone knows that. Therefore, it means that you could care less about the Uzumaki and what happens to him. Now, do you know where he is or not? Sasuke frowned, have you tried Ichiraku Ramen? Of course but he isn't there. Training grounds. Not there. His house. Not there. Sasuke deadpanned then. Where could he be? Then it hit her. I think I know where he is. You do? Where? I won't tell you because you're letting me come with you. Neji raised an eyebrow, why do you want to come? I have my reasons. Now stay here, I'll be out soon. And with that, she shut the door in Neji's face, leaving the pupilless lavender-eyed boy speechless. What the hell? Ino-chan, thanks for helping me pick the flowers and accompanying me to visit Sakura. It's no problem Naruto. Sakura was a friend of mine after all. Naruto frowned, you two could still be friends again you know. Ino just shook her head, I can't forgive her Naruto. Naruto frowned again, yes, you can. Ino looked at him, Naruto, Sakura broke our friendship over Sasuke. Do you know how stupid that was? I've hated Sasuke and been always secretly blaming him for making me lose my best friend. I despise him for it. And I fucking hate Sakura for being so much in love with Sasuke that she would break our long-term friendship over that bastard. Naruto was confused now, then why did you always act like you were his #1 fangirl then? Ino's eyes widened, realizing she just yelled out her biggest secret. Damn. Looks like I have to tell you now. Naruto looked at her questioningly, but Ino didn't notice and began her story. After she ended her friendship, I was angry and I hated Sasuke and Sakura, but I still felt that I had to look after her that stupid crybaby. To me, she'll always be the same crybaby I met when I was younger. So by being her rival, I could still be close to her. Naruto smiled, you really are nice Ino-chan. Ino felt herself blush and punched Naruto in the arm. Ow. What was that for? For being an idiot. What? What the heck did I say that made me sound like an idiot? Every word you said. Huh? Ino just turned away from him, forget it. Naruto shook his head. I'm never going to understand women huh? Finally, they reached the hospital and Naruto grinned when he saw Kiba's sister. Hanani-san. Ino punched Naruto on the head and scolded him in a quiet but angry whisper, don't yell in the hospital idiot. Hana turned and smiled when she saw Naruto smiling sheepishly and a fuming Ino walking up the desk, Aheo, Naruto. Aheo, Ino. Ino smiled and returned the greeting, but Naruto frowned, where's Rin-ni-chan, Ni-san? Hana shook her head, late. Probably overslept again. To think that she's the one in charge of this hospital even. Naruto grinned mischievously, oh, I can bet she didn't overslept. Hana frowned, how? Naruto shrugged, call it a teen intuition. Hana smirked then, care to bet on that? Naruto's eyebrow rose to the challenge. Sure. I bet all the money in my wallet that Rin-ni-chan is late because she had spent the night with Kakashi. Hana smirked, ha. Might as well give me the money now, Naruto. No way would Rin do stuff like that on a working night. That is why I bet she overslept. Naruto smirked too, we'll see who's right when she comes, won't we? And if I win, you give me all the money in your purse. Deal. At that moment, the devil herself came running in. I'm sorry I'm late. Hana just smiled knowingly, overslept huh? Rin smiled sheepishly, well actually, I spent the night with Kakashi at his place. Hana stared at her, then at Naruto. Muttering a curse under her breath, she took out all the money from her purse and gave it Naruto. You win. Naruto smiled, thanks Hana-ni-san. Ino sweat dropped. Poor Hana. Rin however was confused. What's going on? Naruto smiled innocently, nothing Ni-chan. Ino-chan and I are heading to Sakura's room now. See ya. Grabbing Ino's hand, Naruto dragged her to the lift and closed the doors. Once the lift door closed, Ino turned to Naruto, how did you know Rin-san was with your sensei? I saw her and sensei going into his place last night. Ino's eyes widened, that's cheating Naruto. You saw. That makes it unfair. Life isn't fair. But hey, you have to admit Hana-ni-san's face was funny when she realized I was right. He said, chuckling a little at the memory. Ino had to giggle at that, what Naruto said was true. Her face was really funny. Naruto smiled, you should laugh like that more, you know, you look pretty that way. Ino blushed but realized something, are you saying I'm usually not pretty unless I'm laughing? What? No. I just mean. Naruto. Naruto sweat dropped. Fuck. Tsuteneko. I feel sorry for Hana. Sasuke. You shouldn't, you're the one who made her lose after all. Tsuteneko. Yeah, you're right. Sasuke. Sweat drop. Sasuke. Ducks to avoid the kunai that was thrown. What was that? Tsuteneko. A kunai? Sasuke. Who threw it? Tsuteneko. Risen truth ruthless lies. Sasuke. Why? Tsuteneko. Shrugs beats me, but probably because you're so unlikable. Naruto. Tsuteneko does not own me. When Naruto and Ino entered Sakura's room, they saw that Sakura was asleep. Naruto quietly went over to Sakura's bedside table and put the flowers he brought in the empty vase that was there. It looks pretty in the vase. Ino commented. Yeah. Ino silently went over to Sakura's bed to look at her once friend. She looks peaceful. Suddenly, Sakura opened her eyes, startling Ino. Sakura. Sakura didn't respond and that's when Ino noticed her eyes. They were cold and dead, sending a shiver down the girl's spine. Sakura-chan. Sakura turned her head to look at Naruto and Ino noticed that her eyes somehow had more life in them than before. Is it because of Naruto? Naruto smiled as he picked up a chair that was close to table and set it down in front of Sakura. He sat down on it and smiled at Sakura again. How have you been, Sakura-chan? Sakura didn't respond. Is the bed nice? Usually when I'm at the hospital the beds are always nice to sleep in. It's just that the hospital reeks of medicine and the food is tasteless, which is the bad part. Ino giggled and Naruto saw that Sakura's eyes lit up for a moment. Looks like she's already showing signs of recovery already. Suddenly the door opened and the blondes turned to see Rin coming in. Sorry kids, I have to give Sakura her breakfast now. At the word breakfast, Ino's and Naruto's stomachs grumbled, making Rin laugh. You kids are hungry too, huh? How about you head down to the cafeteria for some food? Ino shook her head, thanks Rin-san, but I'd rather go and eat elsewhere. Why? Because the hospital food is tasteless. Naruto told her bluntly. Rin's sweat dropped, ah well, it's always been like that. But you're head of the hospital now. Surely you could change that, said Ino. Maybe in time was all Rin could reply. Naruto's stomach grumbled again, man, I'm hungry. Let's get going, Ino-chan. Ino nodded and turned to where Sakura was. She looked a little sad. Naruto seeing this, quickly reacted. Don't worry Sakura-chan. We'll come back. And I promise to come by and visit you tomorrow too. Ino could have sworn she saw Sakura's eyes lit up again when she heard that. Looks like Sakura is falling for Naruto too. Damn it Ichiha. Why are you wearing your civilian clothing? Niji angrily whispered at the obsidian-eyed girl next to him. Because all my ninja clothes are at the tailor's. I had to have my clan symbol sewn on my tops. The reason why Niji was so frustrated was that Sasuke was attracting a lot of attention from the villagers. He could hear the villagers whispering about them. Niji turned his head to glance at the girl next to him. Sasuke was dressed in a 3/4 sleeve dark blue top, dark wash flared jeans and black sandals. Around her neck, Sasuke wore an Uchiha symbol on a silver chain. It was a necklace that once belonged to her mother. She had left her hair down, showing off how straight, silky and shiny her hair was to the world. On her left hand, she wore a black and silver watch to finish off the look. Niji inwardly sighed, he had to admit that the Uchiha was attractive, heck, even more attractive than he was when he was a male. But he'd much rather die than date a troublesome person like her, besides he had Tenten. Well, now that you're a girl, you're going to have to learn how to sew soon, Niji reminded her. Immediately an image of Naruto sewing her clothes for her from yesterday appeared in her mind. Maybe I should get Naruto to teach me. Anyway, Uchiha, where are we going? The hospital. Why? Because Sakura was admitted there yesterday and knowing the stupidly kind dope, he would probably be there to visit her. I see. It was silent between them until Niji realized something. Did you just praise Naruto? Huh? When? You called him kind. I called him stupidly kind. Kind is still praise. Sasuke was about to argue back until she heard a familiar giggle. She turned her head back to the front and saw Yamanaka Ino talking to some guy next to her. She was wearing a purple tank top, a stonewashed jean skirt and purple sandals. On her left hand, she wore a set of purple bangles. She really likes the color purple. The guy next to her had an orange t-shirt, raw denim jeans and orange sneakers. From a distance, he looked hot. Wait, what? Then the guy laughed, making Sasuke freeze. Naruto? So Naruto is on a date with the Yamanaka. That means I don't have to worry anymore. But the word date triggered Sasuke's Sharingan to flare. Then, Naruto looked up and saw Sasuke with Niji. Yo Sasuke. Niji. Sasuke frowned, her red Sharingan eyes turning back to its usual obsidian onyx as the two blondes made their way towards her and Niji. Naruto grinned, so what are you two doing? On a date him? I don't think Tenten would let you off for cheating on her with Sasuke behind her back Niji. Niji rolled his eyes, the Uchiha was helping me look for you. What about you? You seem more like you're the on a date. Ino blushed, but Naruto shook his head, no, we just got back from visiting Sakura. Then why did Ino go with you? Sasuke asked, finally speaking. This time Ino spoke, because I wanted to see Sakura. I thought you two are rivals. Sasuke asked. We are. I just wanted to see how she was. What about you? Why didn't you see her? She is your teammate. I was tired from yesterday. I did just turn into a girl, you know. But you do look better as one than a guy though. Sasuke's eyes twitched, say that again. You look better as a girl than you were a guy. Sasuke was about to retort but her stomach grumbled, making her turn red in the face and Naruto to chuckle. Looks like everyone skipped breakfast. How about we all have breakfast together? Niji shrugged, why not? Sasuke sighed, I am hungry. Great. By the way Niji, why was it that you and Sasuke were looking for me? Well, I wanted to warn you. Warn me what? To stay away from Tenten. Naruto's eyebrow rose, why? Because you're spending too much time with her. And it doesn't help the fact that you eat all your meals at her place on the weekends. Naruto smirked, oh, you're jealous, don't worry. I'm not interested in Tenten-chan in that way. I still want you to stay away. Why? If it's time, Tenten and I already made an agreement to only spar with each other only once every week instead of 3 times. And the weekends remain the same, her dad's cooking is way too good to pass up. Niji frowned and Naruto's smirk grew, but you wouldn't know, would you? Considering how her dad actually likes me and how he hates your guts. He does not hate me. Nial, Naruto sing-songed. Niji's Byakugan became active, Naruto. Naruto grinned and waved, catch me if you can Niji. Naruto sped off with Niji chasing after him. Sasuke shook her head, idiots. Ino smiled in agreement, no kidding. Tsuteneko. That was enjoyable. D. Sasuke. Screams my hair turned pink. How? Tsuteneko. Risen truth ruthless lies did that. Sasuke. Why? What on earth did I do to her? Tsuteneko. Shrug she never told me. Sasuke. Start sweeping my hair, my beautiful midnight hair. Tsuteneko. That looks like a duck's ass. Sasuke. I hate that bitch. I can't get the dye out of my hair. Tsuteneko. Smirks I do not own Naruto. Man, that was good. Said a very satisfied Naruto. Ino's sweat dropped at the number of empty bowls that was in front of him. Damn Naruto. How can you never get fat? Naruto shrugged, probably because I train a lot. Meanwhile, Niji pulled out some money from his wallet and placed it on the counter, anyway, I need to get going. I'm sure this amount of money is enough to pay for ramen, right? Gucci nodded and Niji got up from his seat, I'll see you guys later. See you later Niji. Naruto cheerfully waved. Later. That's when Sasuke remembered something. Shit, Sasuke muttered. What is it Sasuke? Naruto asked. I just realized that I don't have any money on me. Naruto smiled brightly then I'll pay for yours. You would do that? For me? She asked in disbelief. Of course. We're teammates after all. He says to her, grinning widely. Sasuke looked away from him, her face turning slightly red from the embarrassment she was feeling, thanks I guess. No problem. Ino frowned at that, but Naruto noticed. Don't worry Ino-chan. I can still pay for yours. Why do you have to pay for hers? Sasuke asked. Because Naruto owes me one. Ino answered. Sasuke deadpanned at that, why? Because Ino-chan always buys me ramen whenever I'm on break. She's real nice isn't she? Sasuke just frowned even more, yeah nice. Ino then turned to Naruto, smiling, so Naruto, can you walk me home? Naruto was busy keeping away his wallet after paying the bill when Ino was speaking so he didn't hear her. He looked up at Ino once he was done, sorry, you say something Ino. Ino was about to repeat the question, but stopped when Sasuke got up from her seat and grabbed Naruto by the arm, sorry, but Naruto is taking me home. I am? Yes, you are. And with that, she grabbed Naruto by the arm and dragged him out the ramen bar and in the direction of the Uchiha compound. Ino did nothing because she was shocked by what just happened. Don't tell me Sasuke likes Naruto. Meanwhile with Naruto and Sasuke. Boy Sasuke. Let go of my arm and let me walk damn it. Sasuke let go and Naruto started to rub the part of his arm where Sasuke had grabbed him so tightly. I hope I don't get a bruise. Anyway Sasuke why did you drag me out like that? Didn't you hear what I said earlier? Huh? You want me to walk you home? Yes. Why? What do you mean why? I mean, you never liked being near me before so why do you suddenly want me to walk you home? Who told you I never liked you near me? Well no one but nothing, I never said I disliked you, so you have no right to assume I do stupid dope. Naruto smiled a little, you're right, I shouldn't, sorry Sasuke. Sasuke rolled her eyes, whatever, let's get walking already. Naruto nodded and began to walk alongside the pale-skinned girl. So, how was your checkup yesterday at the hospital? Did everything go alright? Naruto asked, trying to start up a conversation. Yeah, everything's fine. And the Hokage says that I can carry on the Uchiha clan too. Really? Now that's good news for you isn't it? Yeah. But what? For you to continue, you're going to need a husband. Sasuke felt herself blush, well of course I am. But are you okay with that? How do you mean? I mean, you know dating a guy when you're a transgender. Sasuke's sweat dropped, she didn't think about that, I'll figure it out. So have you started training on your own yet? Naruto asked, trying to change the topic. Sasuke sighed, I can't. I'll have to wait until my next checkup with the Hokage which is next month. Why? She said she wanted me to get used to my own body first. Naruto nodded his head in understanding. We're here. Sasuke looked up to see her home before her. That fast? Time really flies. Guess I'll see you later then Sasuke. Right, see you. See you. Sasuke sighed as she watched Naruto walk away. I wanted to spend more time with him. Later that day when Naruto returned home. The first thing Naruto did was take off his shirt. It was hot and he had been just itching to take it off the whole day. Their body is as well muscled as ever. Naruto looked up to see his best friend casually lying back on his armchair, dressed in a midriff white tank top, stone-washed jean shorts and wide ankle socks. What did I tell you about breaking into my house Hinata? Hinata just pouted in response, you're so mean. I just came back from a week-long mission and this is how you greet me? Naruto sighed, I would greet you nicer if you hadn't broken into my house again. It's not my fault you refused to upgrade your security. It's not that I refuse, I'm just busy. Hinata rolled her eyes, sure you are. Naruto sighed and flopped down on his couch, so how was the mission? Frustrating. We had to guard some spoiled rotten princess 24/7. Damn. She was so bloody irritating. I wanted to kill her right then and there. Naruto smirked at Hinata's aggravated face, well you could always go and assassinate her like you usually do. I could if someone gave me a mission that could let me do that as the Jigoku Tenshi. The Jigoku Tenshi, the youngest S-ranked assassin ever in the history of assassins, known widely for never failing a mission, but always having to pay a high price for her services. That was Hinata's secret identity. She had created that identity after the Sandaime had died along with Naruto himself, who became the infamous bounty hunter, Akuma Kitsune. When Naruto and Hinata were young, they had both created masks for themselves. Hinata was asked to by her grandfather to hide her strength as a Hyuga and act weak so that she would not follow in the same footsteps as Uchiha Itachi. Whilst Naruto was asked to by the Kyuubi to act stupid so that he would not be mistreated by the council and made into a weapon. However, the Sandaime had found out about their facades and asked them if they would like to become special Anbu. Seeing this as an opportunity to test out their skills and get some experience they agreed. Naruto and Hinata were admitted to special Anbu at the age of 6. Special Anbu was a special force that selected ninjas secretly participate in who takes on Anbu missions that needed their skills in the field. For example, Hinata's skill was stealth, so she was often called for stealth missions. Naruto excelled greatly in combat, so he was called only when there was a chance of extreme bloody battles to happen. But when the Sandaime left, there was no other reason for them to stay, so they left the special Anbu and made names for themselves, Hinata as a top assassin under the name Jigoku Tenshi and Naruto as a dangerous bounty hunter called the Akuma Kitsune. But later on the elders had found the Sandaime's old journal and found out about their facades. They made Tsunade reinstate them back to the special Anbu but allowed them to keep their outside jobs. Those were the secret lives the two of them had. And no one else knew. They were partners and the best of friends. They knew everything about each other and were as close as siblings. The elders had asked them once if they were ever involved romantically with each other, but they replied no. The two of them had known each other for too long and couldn't even imagine them together. Friends, that's all they ever saw each other as. Besides, Hinata was still heartbroken over Naruto. Naruto blinked his eyes in surprise, he was so lost in his thoughts that he didn't even realize that Hinata had moved to sit by him on the couch. Sorry Hinata, I was just thinking. About? Nothing important really. Hinata raised an eyebrow but said nothing. She leaned back in the couch and asked, are the rumors true? What rumors? Naruto asked. The rumors that Sasuke Uchiha is now a girl. Naruto chuckled, yes. Mind telling me the story? It's going to be a long story though. I have time, she told him. Alright, it all began when Tsuteneko. Done. Sasuke. Not enough Narusasu. Tsuteneko. I feel guilty about that, but I'll make up for it soon. Sasuke. You better. Sasuke. You'd better add more Narusasu in here. Tsuteneko. I will. Now do the disclaimer. Sasuke. Tsuteneko does not own Naruto. Once Naruto told the whole story, Hinata was looking at him in utter disbelief. Wow. Yeah, Naruto agreed. So the Uchiha can't train until next month. Yup. He's going to be really bored. Yeah, ended she, Naruto corrected. Right she. Damn. I don't think I can handle one whole month of doing nothing. Me either. Naruto agreed. Just then, Naruto's stomach grumbled. Hinata giggled, hungry. Naruto looked up to see his clock. Damn. It's this late. Hinata smiled and got up from her seat on the couch. How about I cook for you? Besides, I'm hungry too. Alright, you know where everything is. Hinata nodded and made her way to the mini kitchen Naruto had in his home. Naruto watched her go, his eyes soon landing on the demon mark she had on her lower left back, just above the hemline of the jean shorts she wore. The tattoo-like mark was a picture of two dragons swirling around each other. Picture on profile, a must-see. The demon mark. The mark proving that you are a Jinchuriki who has chosen to sign a contract with the demon that resided in them, but in return, they would be given the mark as well as full access to their chakra and the ability to speak to them at will. Naruto himself had one, his covering his entire back. It was like a tattoo, his mark was a picture of the Kyuubi itself. It was beautiful, Naruto had to admit, but a real pain in the ass when he has to use up his chakra to do a Jinjutsu to hide it when he's around the others. Around Hinata, he didn't have to since she was a Jinchuriki as well. One day, Hinata was badly injured on one of her missions and stayed in a cave to tend to her wounds. The cave actually housed a dragon demon. It was dying and needed a host. Hinata, being the kind soul that she was, offered herself to be the host. That was when she was 10 years old. As far as Naruto knew, Hinata had never used her Jinchuriki powers on a mission. He had seen her practice with her powers and sparred with her using them, but never on a mission. When he asked, she said it was because she never found an opponent that pushed her into that kind of limit. Suddenly, Hinata spoke up, causing Naruto to snap back to reality. Naruto, why are you staring at my ass? Naruto rolled his eyes, it's not your ass, it's your demon mark I'm staring at. Why? Is there something wrong with it? No, I'm just reliving memories. Hinata frowned, you've been spacing a lot today. I'm fine, really, he assured her. Hinata frowned even more and went over to where Naruto was, she bent down so that their faces were just inches apart. You know you promised to tell me whatever that is troubling you right away, right? She asked him softly. Naruto sighed, yes, I know. Then what's wrong? Naruto looked up at her and right into her eyes. Her lilac-violet eyes, not the white ones that had a tinge of lavender to them which she was born with. I can't help but think about you. That time when you went into trauma because of your eyes. Naruto, right. You're remembering it because of her. Yeah, it's just. Hinata wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck, hugged him and laid her head on Naruto's. Damn it, Naruto, how many times have I told you that you couldn't stop what happened to me? Naruto sighed. About 6 months ago, the Hyuga had decided that Hinata would be disowned, but they were afraid that if she happened to die in battle, she would give away their clan secrets. But she was far too old to have the curse seal put on her, so they did the alternative. They replaced her eyes, which was an old method the Hyugas has used on their weak main house members in the old days. Hinata was forced into it, they drugged her and performed the operation while she was out. When she awoke, she found herself in an alley with a bag filled with all her belongings beside her. Flashback. Hinata. Hinata turned to see Naruto. Naruto. Do you know where I am? But Hinata didn't get answer from him because Naruto was staring at her in utter confusion. What's wrong? What's up with your eyes? What do you mean? They're normal and purple in color. Hinata's eyes widened. Oh god Naruto, do you have a mirror? Naruto shook his head and Hinata made a beeline for her bag. She pulled out a small handheld mirror and stared at her reflection. I've been disowned my eyes, this shouldn't have happened now Hinata screamed, scaring Naruto. Hinata. He ran over to her and took her by the shoulders. Hinata. What's wrong? Hinata couldn't answer, she was hyperventilating. Naruto immediately rushed her to the hospital. It took 3 months for Hinata to recover. In all that time, Naruto was afraid for her. He had never seen her like that before, so frail, so fragile, so broken in his entire life. He was angry too, he wanted to massacre the bloody clan who did that to her, but he didn't because if he did, it wouldn't have helped Hinata at all. End of flashback. Hinata. I smell smoke. Hinata's eyes widened in alarm and rushed back to the kitchen. Crap. I forgot I was still cooking. Naruto laughed, guess it's pizza huh? The next day, Sasuke was dragged out of the house by Kakashi. Why do I have to go for some stupid lunch get-to together with the Konoha 12 and the Sand siblings? Because it's high time, you start going. You'll get lazy if you mope around in your house all day. Sasuke glared at her teacher, but before she could say anything else, she heard Naruto's voice. Sasuke. Sasuke looked up to see everyone staring at her. Why are you here? I thought you hate social functions. Naruto asked. Sasuke stepped hard on Kakashi's foot, making him let go of her arm. I do, but this stupid pervert dragged me here. Naruto grinned, but then that means you'll get to have lunch with us. Sasuke frowned, no way. Naruto pouted, come on Sasuke. Just eat with us. It's the sensei who has to pay. Sasuke frowned even more at his persuasion, no. Suddenly, Sasuke noticed a creamy white hand snake itself around Naruto's arm. Forget her Naruto, she obviously doesn't want to come. Leave that anti-socialist alone and let's have our lunch. Sasuke's eyes twitched, I'm not going to lose. She pulled Naruto away from Ino's grip so that he was standing next to her. On second thought, I'll stay. Ino scowled and Sasuke glared. Naruto however was happy, really? Sasuke nodded, still glaring. That's great Sasuke. Inside the restaurant. Sasuke was very displeased to find out that she had to share a table with the other Kenyachi, Ino, Hinata, Tenten and Temari, and not with Naruto. Ino was wearing a purple halter top and a stone-washed blue jean skirt. She wore a set of purple bangles on her left hand and purple sandals on her feet. Hinata was dressed in a light blue tank top, a jean jacket and drainpipe jeans. She wore blue sandals that matched her shirt on her feet. Tenten was wearing a red Chinese blouse and low-rise dark jeans. On her feet, she wore red sandals and on her left hand, a simple wristwatch. Temari was wearing a light purple kimono-style top and dark jean shorts, she wore matching sandals on her feet. Sasuke herself wore a dark blue sleeveless shirt, a black cardigan, a pair of dark skinny jeans, black boots and her Uchiha symbol necklace. Hey Sasuke. What is it Yamanaka? Sasuke answered rudely. Ino frowned, I just have to ask one thing. What? Do you like Naruto? Sasuke stiffened. You do don't you? What makes you say that? Sasuke finally asked. Call it a girl's intuition. So do you? What does it matter to you? Because I like him and I'm not going to lose him to someone like you. Sasuke's eye twitched, and what's wrong with me? There are so many things Sasuke. We could even make a list. You want it in chronological order or alphabetical? Sasuke's twitched again. This blonde bitch is pissing me off. Tsuteneko. Next chapter is going to be fun to write 3. Ino. Why do you say that? Tsuteneko. You'll see. 3. Sasuke. Somebody cut off my right hair bang in my sleep. Random girl runs past Sasuke laughing like a maniac with a kunai in hand. Tsuteneko. OMG. That was Risen Truth Ruthless Lies. Sasuke. Why does she hate me so much? Ino. Because you suck. Tsuteneko. Naruto. Risen Truth Ruthless Lies wanted me to give you this ramen. Naruto. Really? Tell her I said thanks. Immediately starts gobbling up the ramen. Sasuke. Sweat drop, she's not going to do something awful to me again, will she? Tsuteneko. No, she said she was going to prank someone else. I saw her earlier with a bottle of blue hair dye earlier though. Sasuke. Blue hair dye. Naruto. Cut the chit chat people. Let's get on with the story. Tsuteneko. Hell yeah. I do not own Naruto. With the boys. So Naruto-kun, how is Sakura-chan? Lee asked. I think she should recover pretty soon. How do you know that? Kiba asked. Because I had been with Hinata most of the time when she had her trauma, so I know what the size of recovery are. Immediately, everyone went quiet. They all remembered Hinata's breakdown. It had been a frightening experience for all of them. Hinata couldn't stop screaming every time she woke up and saw her eyes in the first month she was at the hospital. There were even times she lost her voice from crying out so much. Those 3 months had been hell for the boys, they had all got to know Hinata in time, and seeing her in that state had all struck a chord in their hearts. Suddenly, they heard a familiar shriek. Achiha. Immediately, the boys got out of their seats and ran to where the girls were. When they got there, they saw a smirking Sasuke with an empty water glass in her hand and a very drenched angry Ino. Why the fuck did you throw water on me? Because you wouldn't stop spewing out crap, Sasuke simply answered. Ino was about to retort but sneezed instead. I'm leaving. Sasuke said as she put down her cup. Naruto stopped her. Hold on a minute, Sasuke, what just happened here? Nothing you need to know about, Sasuke said as she pushed her way past him and the boys toward the front door. Ino sneezed again, making Shikamaru and Choji go over and check on her whilst Hinata, Temari and Tenten got up from their seats. We're going to go talk to her. Later on. Sasuke. Wait. Sasuke turned to see Hinata, Temari and Tenten running toward her. What do you want? We wanted to talk to you. Tenten told her. What? You want to tell me off on how immature it was for me throw water at Ino? Temari chuckled, hey, I would have done the same if Ino was pushing my buttons like that. Flashback. There are so many things, Sasuke. We could even make a list. You want it in chronological order or alphabetical? Sasuke's eye twitched. This blonde bitch is pissing me off. You would be bad for Naruto. Sasuke raised an eyebrow at that, how so? You are an arrogant pompous ass who's always troubling Naruto. Like hell he would ever consider even dating you. Sasuke scowled, and how are you any better? You're nothing but a bossy bitch. Fine, I'm bossy, but at least I never shoved a Chidori into someone's lung. Immediately, Sasuke froze. Struck a nerve, huh? Shut up. He went through intensive surgery because of you. If Tsunade-sama wasn't there, he could have. I know. And I feel guilty about it, okay? Oh yeah? Did you ever apologize? Sasuke closed his mouth. Did you visit him? Sasuke answered quietly, I was recuperating on my own, he was discharged before me. Okay, did you ever ask how he was? Sasuke hesitated then, no. Then how did you know about his surgery? Kakashi told me when he visited me. Ino then deadpanned an obsidian-eyed girl in front of her, Sasuke, what you did was unbelievable. Some of our own comrades had been severely injured because of you, and if it wasn't for the Sand siblings they too could have. Shut the fuck up, Ino. I know about all the damage I caused. I've already done D-rank missions for one whole month as punishment. What do you expect me to do, huh? Apologize to Naruto and to everyone else. Sasuke then lowered her voice, he said I didn't have to. What? I wanted to, but Naruto stopped me and said I didn't need to. He lied. And how do you know? Sasuke asked skeptical. People always say that, but really, they want to hear the apology. Sasuke remained quiet. Also, I think you should give him up. Sasuke looked up at her. You've already given him enough wounds, he doesn't need any emotional ones if he involves himself with you. And what makes you think I would? So you admit you like Naruto? Why do you like Naruto? Sasuke retorted, avoiding the question. Surprisingly, a gentle and soft smile appeared on Ino's face, he's so sweet, so kind, hardworking, determined there's so many things I can say why I like him. No, I don't like him. Ino paused and looked at Sasuke right in the eye, I love him. Sasuke was surprised, don't be bullshit. You were my fangirl. You said you were my number one. I lied. What? Why? Because I had to be Sakura's rival. I wanted to be close to her and look after her. Sasuke paused and finally asked how long? What? How long have you loved Naruto? Realized my love for him or what? Realized? Since the retrieval mission. Sasuke closed his mouth and remained quiet, he really didn't know what to say. Anyways, like I said. You don't deserve him. And you do. I am the best and Naruto deserves it. Sasuke growled then, who the fuck told you that you were the best? Nobody did but I know I am. Why would Naruto want a bitter, sour bitch like you who's only obsessed about avenging her clan? He needs someone who can be there for him as a girlfriend. He doesn't need someone who was once a boy. Sasuke scowled, but Ino continued. Besides, you're going to die anyway. What? You can never kill your brother Sasuke. He was a prodigy while you were desperately trying to win your father's approval. He even killed his entire clan on his own. There's no way in hell you can kill Uchiha Itachi. He would most probably kill you though if you tried to go against him. That did it, Sasuke picked up her glass and threw her ice-cold water at Ino. Ino let out a loud shriek in response, causing the boys to run over to where the girls were to see what was going on. End of flashback. Even I have to admit that Ino-chan went too far. Hinata confessed. Won't she get mad that you guys are here talking to me? Sasuke asked. Nah, she's too pissed about how you threw the water over her. Tenten told him. Damari laughed, oh man. Did you see her face? Her expression was priceless. Tenten laughed, Hinata giggled and Sasuke smirked. Maybe it's not too bad being a girl if I have friends like these guys. Sasuke thought to herself. But the boys. Shikamaru, Choji and Asuma accompanied Ino home and Kakashi said that they were all free to leave. Kurenai and Kakashi left whilst Guy and Lee went off to train. But the boys however did not want to go home just yet. So what do you guys want to do now? Kiba asked. How about we all go see Sakura-chan? Naruto suggested. The boys shrugged, they didn't mind so they all agreed to visit Sakura. Later on. Sakura-chan. Sakura, who was being fed lunch by her mother, turned to see Naruto with a cheerful grin on his face. I brought friends to see you. See? Naruto moved to the side so that the other boys could come in. The boys politely greeted her, but all Sakura did was stare. After a few short minutes of staring, she turned back to her mother to be continued being fed. Kiba couldn't help but feel a little irritated, surely she could have shown some kind of reaction. I'm sorry about Sakura, she's still recovering, Sasayaki apologized. That's when the boys noticed Sakura's mother there. It's alright, Shino told her. Sakura's mother nodded and turned to smile at Naruto. Hello Naruto. How have you been? Naruto blushed, remembering his last encounter with her, fine. And yourself? I'm alright. What is that white box that's sticking out of your jacket pocket, Naruto-kun? Naruto pulled out the box and smiled, these are some chocolates for Sakura-chan, specifically white chocolates. I remembered how she always kept saying that she liked white chocolates whenever we talked about sweets. Oh Naruto, how nice of you. I'm sure she's loved that. True to her word, Sakura held her hand out to Naruto to give her the chocolate. Naruto chuckled. You really wanted, huh? Can't blame you though, the hospital food here is pretty bad. This joke managed to get an amused smile from everyone except Sakura, who just took the chocolate from Naruto and began to unwrap the red ribbon. Once it was undone, she opened the box, took out one chocolate and popped it into her mouth. Immediately, a small smile made its way on her face. She likes it. Naruto cried out happy. Suddenly, he found a chocolate forcefully put in his mouth. After chewing it and swallowing it down, he smiled. That was great. Thanks for sharing, Sakura-chan. Sakura just let her small smile become wider in response. Niji shook his head, he couldn't believe this. Not only did Sasuke and Ino like Naruto but Sakura as well. Man, a major catfight was going to happen and Niji sure as hell would rather die than get in the middle of it like Naruto would be. Poor Naruto. Sakura. Somebody dyed my hair blue. Sasuke. Oh, her target was Sakura. Naruto. You look really weird with blue hair, Sakura-chan. Sakura. Niji bald weird or Niji short hair weird? Naruto. I'm somewhere like a cross in between. Niji. Somebody gave me a mohawk haircut. I'm. Laughing, that was me. Niji. Why? I'm. Because I was curious to see what you'd look like. And damn, you look stupid. Tenten. Sweat drop. Haim does not own Naruto. It's been 2 weeks since Sasuke's and Ino's fight. Naruto and the boys couldn't find out what happened between them because the girls refused to tell them anything. However, since they are boys, they had soon enough dropped the matter, much to the relief of the girls. Today, Naruto decided to ask Sasuke if she would like to join him on his visit with Sakura, whose condition was improving for the better. But when Naruto rang Sasuke's doorbell, he was surprised to hear a loud groan in response. Sasuke. Yo Sasuke. Is something wrong? Hearing another groan, louder than the last, Naruto took a step back, kicked the door open, breaking its hinges and letting Naruto barge inside. Sasuke. You okay? Dope. Why the fuck did you break down my door? Eh? Naruto looked up to see a very pissed off Sasuke glaring at him from her spot on the couch. You look fine. Of course I look fine. Then why were you groaning in pain? I'm having my fucking period, you idiot. Naruto froze and stared at Sasuke. You're having your period. Sasuke froze too because she realized that she just told Naruto something no girl wanted a guy to know. Her face flamed red and Naruto laughed nervously, so it's the cramps, huh? Sasuke didn't respond, she was too embarrassed to. You want me to call Bachan or something? Your cramps sound pretty bad for you to be groaning like that. In response, Sasuke threw a pillow at Naruto's face. Ow. Sasuke, what was that for? Don't talk about my cramps so casually, idiot dope. Then how am I supposed to talk about your cramps like? Don't talk about it all. But you're in pain from them, right? Sasuke sighed, then get me Hinata. Hinata-chan. Why? Because she's easy to talk to. Now go. But. Sasuke threw another pillow and Naruto dodged it by hightailing out of there. The raven-haired girl sighed and laid her head back down, stupid dope. Later at Hinata's house. Hinata opened the door to see Naruto there on her doorstep. Naruto. What's up? Sasuke is having his time of the month. Hinata's eyes widened and much to Naruto's surprise, she started laughing. Hinata. But Hinata couldn't stop, she was laughing too hard too. Soon enough she stopped, clutching her sides and grinning wildly. Hinata looked up with a big grin on her face, sorry. It's just that it's too funny you know. I mean I still haven't gotten the fact that Sasuke is a girl now and you saying that is just. Naruto chuckled, guess you're right. Anyway, she's having pretty bad cramps. Think you can help her? Immediately, Hinata's grinning face changed to a look of sympathy, oh yeah, it's her first time right. Must be pretty painful for her, don't worry I got just the thing. Let me shower and get dressed first. That's when Naruto noticed that Hinata was in her robe. Slept in huh? Yup, come on in and wait for me on the couch okay? Sure. With that, she let him inside. 15 minutes passed and Naruto was still waiting for Hinata to come out. Naruto sighed and lied down on her couch. Geez, why do girls always take so long to get ready? Because they're all vain and narcissists. Naruto didn't have to turn, he recognized that voice anywhere. It's been a while Sai. Sai smirked as he climbed through the window and casually sat down on one of Hinata's armchairs. Naruto turned his head slightly to look at Sai. Sai with his usual short jet black hair, ink black eyes, and extremely pale skin, was shifting his own body to lie down on the armchair himself. He was dressed in a black dress shirt, black skinny jeans and black Converse. He carried a knapsack on his back. Why do you always wear black? Naruto questioned. Why do you always wear orange? Sai countered. Because it's a part of my cover. You know my favorite color is red. Yeah, because it reminds you of blood and you're a sadist. I'm not. Says the guy who used to work with Ibiki before he joined Anbu. You could crack enemies within minutes for God's sakes. Naruto smirked, man he missed those days. Sai. Sai looked up just in time for Hinata to glump him. Where have you been? I missed you. Yeah me too. Now get off me please. Hinata did so but pouted at him in response, geez why don't you look happy to see me? I would be happy if you're a guy. Naruto shook his head, Sai had revealed to Hinata and himself that he was gay a month ago, they had their suspicions about it at first and were glad that he finally came out of the closet but now he boldly mentions it all the time. Whatever you say Sai. So how's old Danzo doing? Not doing anything interesting. Don't know why I'm assigned to watch him for. Because he's known to be a real cunning one. Naruto rolled his eyes, it's be easy to beat Danzo anyway. He's old for after all, we just gotta dodge him for a good bit, wait for him to drain all his chakra, maybe break a hip and stab him with a kunai. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You should really stop underestimating people Naruto. He was known to be as good as the Sandaime you know. Hinata chided him. Naruto shrugged, we could still beat him. Sai smirked at the two, you guys haven't changed a bit. Anyway, I have assignments for you. Naruto's eyes twinkled with interest and sat up on his spot on the couch. Sai reached into his knapsack and tossed the blonde 2 scrolls. One is a sealing scroll with all your other assignments sealed inside and the other is a direct order that needs to be done today. Curious, Naruto opened the scroll and read it. Look like this one has ordered the bounty's head to be handed in by tonight. Yup and don't you dare say I'm a lousy messenger because I received that one only just. Naruto got up from the couch and rolled up a scroll, I'd better get going then. Hinata smiled, good luck Naruto. Naruto smirked as he leaned towards her and kissed her on the forehead, thanks Hina-chan. Hinata's face turned beetroot red before screaming at him in anger for what he did, Naruto. I'll gonna fucking kill you, you stupid blonde asshole. But before Hinata could get her hands on him, Naruto raced off and jumped out of the window, laughing at her as he did so. Hinata glared at the window he jumped out of, idiot. What did he do that for? Sai smiled, Naruto just loved teasing Hinata and so did he, every once in a while. Anyway, Sai where are my assignments? Hinata asked, breaking his train of thought. Sai threw her another sealing scroll, quite a few, but I'm sure you can pull it off in a short time as you always do oh, and you have a meeting with the Gondame in half an hour. A meeting? Concerning what? She never said, just said to be there on time. Hinata frowned, what could Tsunade want? Hinata never got missions from Tsunade directly before, usually Shizune assigned them to Hinata herself, but Tsunade. Must be pretty important. What could it be? Niji. Somebody shaved my hair bald. Turns to glare at Haim. Haim. Don't look at me. Random girl runs past Niji laughing like a maniac with a kunai in hand. Haim. OMG. That was Risen Truth Ruthless Lies. Niji. What the FCK did I do to deserve this? Haim. Because it's your destiny to suffer. Evil laughter. Hinata rang the doorbell and in response, she heard a tired Sasuke telling her to come in. When she did, she was surprised to see Sasuke dressed in a white tank top and black boxer shorts curled up into a little ball on her black couch, looking absolutely exhausted. Sasuke. Sasuke turned and faced Hinata. Hinata was dressed in a white fitted t-shirt, sleeveless light blue hoodie, jean shorts, white thigh-high socks and light blue sneakers. Hey, Sasuke managed to greet, despite the intense pain she was feeling in her abdomen. Looks like the first day is really hard for you, Hinata commented. The cramps are really bad. Hinata went over and knelt down in front of Sasuke. Have you tried painkillers? Painkillers? They can help. They sure do. Hinata then took a small bow from her knapsack and showed it to Sasuke, who was slowly starting to sit up on the couch. This is Panadyl menstrual. It's a great painkiller for us girls when we have our periods. Want me to get ready some water for you so you can try? Okay, I guess. Hinata nodded and went to the kitchen. When she came back, she had a glass of water in hand. She passed it to Sasuke and sat down next to her. Sasuke followed Hinata's careful instructions and gulped down the water together with one of the pills. Wow, it doesn't hurt as bad anymore. Hinata smiled and took something else from her bag. And this is an electrical heating pad. It heats up really quickly and comes with 3 heat settings so that you can choose between low, medium or high heat. Use this in between the painkillers and your cramps will get better in no time. Once Hinata had finished her explanation, she helped Sasuke with her heating pad. Sasuke, now lying down on the couch again, let out a relieved sigh. Ah, this feels good. Hinata smiled, just glad that you're feeling better, Sasuke. Thanks for coming here and helping me like this. It's not a problem, Sasuke, really. Among all the others, I feel like I can really get along with you, I don't know why though. I kind of have that effect on people. Hey Hinata, have we met before when we were young? Sorry. Hinata asked, not hearing the question. Have we ever met before? Sasuke repeated. Hinata's eyes widened, is she actually starting to remember? Hinata? Sasuke asked, concerned. Why do you ask? It's just that, there's something so familiar about you. I feel, I don't know, comfortable. Safe. When I'm around you. Hinata wasn't sure what to say until she saw the clock. Oh, I'm sorry, Sasuke. I need to go, Tsunade-sama wants me at her office soon. Oh, sorry for keeping you. It's okay, hope your cramps get better, Sasuke. Thanks, bye Hinata. Bye Sasuke. And with that, she left. Later in Tsunade's office. You want me to what? Hinata asked again in disbelief. The council requests for the Jigoku Tenshi to train Sasuke in helping her on becoming stronger so she can beat Uchiha Itachi. You cannot be serious. I'm afraid I am. Me? Teach Sasuke. Look, I know that you and the Uchiha brothers go way back and… She couldn't finish because she had to duck when a kunai came flying at her and caught it between her 2 fingers just in time. How the hell did you know that? Hinata asked, her voice low and dangerous. The elders told me about it, the blonde woman calmly answered. Hinata swore, but Tsunade was unfazed. Sasuke, she really doesn't remember you? Apparently she's somehow starting to remember. I'm guessing it's because I've been spending time with her. Tsunade smiled a small smile, it's nice isn't it? Being with her again. Don't change the subject here, why does my connection with them made the council choose me? Hinata asked, her voice dripping with anger. The blonde-haired woman sighed, because you had Itachi as a sensei. You have experience when it comes to dealing with Sharingan. So does Kakashi, Hinata pointed out. But you are both female, and you can help her with adjusting to her new body when fighting. Also, you are the most powerful Kenyachi we have here in Konoha. The council insists that you to be her trainer. No, forget it. This isn't a request, this is an order. I said no, you bloody old hag. Tsunade stood up from her chair, enraged. Hinata. You will fucking do as I say. You can't make me, you old hag. Hinata screamed back. Suddenly, Tsunade smirked, you know what? I get it. What? Your feelings for those two. They'll get in the way, won't they? Sasuke, who you once called a great friend, and Itachi, who was your… Shut up. Don't you dare speak his name in front of me. Was your fiancé. Tsunade finished. Hinata glared at her superior, look here, the only reason why I refuse to train Sasuke is because I want to kill Itachi. He had hurt me and I want to make sure he gets what he deserves. Tsunade was shocked to see so much revenge in Hinata's eyes. You really loved him. Hinata closed her eyes, her face scrunched in pain, yes, I did. Immediately, Tsunade felt sorry for the girl. Hinata, I understand that you're hurt, but Sasuke was hurt 1,000 times more. Surely, she deserves the chance to kill the man who massacred her whole clan. Hinata sighed, if I still refuse, what will you do? The council is prepared to pay you a triple S rank salary if you do this. Hinata's eyes widened, a triple S rank salary. Yes. Why? Because they insisted you are the best to train Sasuke. Hinata sighed, alright, fine. At least I'm earning pay. And a triple S rank salary does have a lot of zeros. Tsunade smiled and dismissed her, satisfied. Once Hinata was outside, silent tears flowed down her face, remembering Tsunade's words about how she suspected that her feelings for Sasuke and Itachi were still going strong. Not even thinking about that weasel was bringing back memories. Why did she have to say his name? The next day, Kakashi was taking Sasuke and Naruto to eat when someone was heard calling Naruto's name. Naruto. Naruto turned and his eyes widened, sigh. Kakashi frowned, Naruto, who is he? Naruto didn't answer because Sai was already in front of him and panting. Sai, what's wrong? I'm weasel alcohol. Naruto's eyes widened, understanding immediately. Sorry, Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke. I've got to go. Sasuke deadpanned, but Naruto. Sai, call out of one your animals. Sai nodded and took out a skull from his knapsack. He placed it on the ground and drew what seemed to be a bird with an ink brush. When he was finished, the bird left the paper and grew into life size, surprising Sasuke and Kakashi greatly. Naruto, unfazed, jumped onto bird's back with Sai. Let's go, Naruto ordered. The bird, understanding the command, flapped its wings and flew high into the sky. To Hinata's house. Sai directed it. The bird nodded and took off whilst Sasuke and Kakashi stood there, completely shocked by the whole ordeal. Outside of Hinata's house, Naruto was frustrated to see that Hinata had sealed all her windows shut. On the way to her house, Sai had told him that he had overheard the elders talking about Hinata's meeting with Tsunade the day before, and this morning, a convenience store downstairs had recently had his entire alcohol stock taken, but with money on the counter to pay for it. Naruto sighed, to unseal this, he was going to need a whole lot of chakra. Naruto took a deep breath and started performing the necessary hand signs. He slammed his hand on the window and shouted, Kai. The door swung opened, and the two boys jumped inside, whilst the bird they had rode on turned back to ink. Sai noticed that Naruto stumbled a bit on the landing. You alright, Naruto? I'm fine, Hinata just had to use a seal that would have taken 3/4 of my chakra to unseal it, huh? But Sai didn't answer as his nose was busy wrinkling in distaste as he had noticed that the place was a total trash pit. Liquor bottles were everywhere and Hinata was sprawled on the floor with her hair in a mess and her breath reeking of alcohol right in front of them. Sai, get me some ice. We'll keep it on her head to cool her down. Sai nodded and hurried off whilst Naruto picked up Hinata and carried her to her bedroom. Once he laid her down on her bed, he stroked her face with his fingers and stopped when he realized that her cheeks were wet. She was crying too. I got the ice. Naruto nodded and took the ice pack from him and out it on Hinata's head. Immediately, Hinata winced. Her eyes fluttered open and in a flash, she jumped out of the bed and ran into the bathroom to puke her guts out. She vomited all over toilet and couldn't stop. Tears flowed down her face from the acid in her throat. Shit, why the hell did I buy and drink all that alcohol for? Oh yeah, to screw my pained heart and try to forget the cruel shitty world that I live in. My life is so bloody fucked up. Flashback. Hinata promptly lay down on the floor, opened the whiskey bottle in her hand, brought the liquor to her mouth, and took a large swig of it in one gulp. Her throat burned from the alcohol, but she sucked it up and wiped her mouth clean. Itachi, even after all these years, the memories of you and Sasuke still haunts me. I really do despise you Uchiha bastards. Hinata stated, before taking another swig from the bottle. End of flashback. The weasel, huh? Hinata turned and glared at Naruto who was watching her from the doorway, shuddered. You 13 remember? You shouldn't even be. Naruto was interrupted in mid-scolding by Hinata, who slammed the bathroom door loudly in his face and locking it. She's really gone off the deep end, huh? Sai asked as he stood next to him. Shut up, Sai. Sai sighed, look, she can't keep doing this every time somebody mentions Itachi to her. You think I don't know that? I've tried, okay. But I can't. She's too bloody stubborn. And just how can she drink that much anyway? Sai asked, remembering all those bottles that was scattered over the floor in the living room. As a medic, her body has been trained to metabolize poisons quickly, Naruto explained. So she needs a lot to get buzzed, Sai realized, getting it. Naruto nodded. Why do you think that Tsunade drinks so much? Alcoholic, Sai answered instantly. Naruto's sweat dropped, well, there is that okay, let me rephrase, why do you think Tsunade can drink so much and still stay sober? Sai paused at that. Makes sense, Naruto heard him murmur. Naruto sighed, could he ever help Hinata? Inside the bathroom, Hinata was having her own internal conflict. She leaned against the door, her eyes casted down at the floor. Her hands were tightly balled into fists, the skin spread tightly across her snow-white knuckles. Her bottom lip was harshly bitten between her teeth, so harshly that she swore she could taste blood. She was caught up in trying to keep everything in, so caught up in it that she barely noticed the feeling of something rolling down her cheek. When she saw a drop of water fall to the floor, she quickly raised her hand to her face, wiping it away. Hinata glanced over at the mirror, looking at her own reflection in it. Her eyes slightly red, small signs of tear tracks visible on her face, and her bottom lip looking abused after biting it so hard. Itachi, I seriously fucking you. I hope that with my teachings, Sasuke can successfully kill you and send you to hell where you can rot for breaking my heart, you son of a bitch weasel. Time. It seems the Tenchi Yami Angel of Darkness likes seeing Naruto as a chick magnet. Sasuke. TCH, I have more fangirls than the dope. Time. All who are so bloody desperate and shallow. Hinata. Why am I an alcoholic? Time. The idea just popped into my mind. Nice huh? Hinata. I'm 13. Time. So. Sasuke. Sweat drop weirdo non-fangirl. Naruto. Gaara's hair is purple. Gaara. Who did this? Time. Not me. It was KITTYKAT0611. Gaara. I'll kill him. Time. Sweat drop I do now own Naruto. Naruto sighed, it's been way too quiet since I left. Maybe she passed out from all the puking. Hey Hinata. You alright in there? In response, Hinata opened the door and greeted Naruto with a scowl. Do I look fine? No, you look just awful actually. You're enjoying this aren't you, you bloody sadist. Maybe a bit Miss Temptress. Hinata glared at him in response. Last year, in December, Hinata had to get information out an owner of a strip club who just so happened to like young girls like her working for him, so Tsune did the unthinkable. She actually forced Hinata to study under Anko Mitrashi, the most infamous seductress in all of Konoha. In the end though, she did do well under Anko and learned a lot from her, plus her mission was a Susus, so it was all good until Naruto and Sai started calling her temptress. You should seriously take a bath you stink Hinata. Fuck. Naruto's right eyebrow went up at Hinata's response. What? I'm supposed to meet my team for training later in the afternoon. Naruto rolled his eyes and shook his head, Hinata, Hinata, Hinata. Before Hinata could yell at him to shut up, she felt her legs buckle and fell backward. Luckily Naruto caught her before she made contact with the ground. My head hurts Naruto, could you use that medical jutsu to help me? She asked, weakly. Naruto sighed, I can't. Why not? Because the damn seal you used on your window took up a lot of my chakra to unseal it. So you're going to have wait, especially since you're too drunk to focus properly to use the jutsu. Hinata glared at him, but Naruto continued, so you're going to have to do the alternative to help you sober up. Hinata raised an eyebrow, what alternative? Peeing out the alcohol of course. Fuck no. The water will not only flush the alcohol out of your system, it will also remove a lot of the dehydration from drinking. If you want to be sober by afternoon, we're going to start here. No way Naruto. I'll pee like crazy. Do you want to go to training with a hangover? Hinata groaned, he was right of course, but damn, did he just had to make it so hard for her? I don't care what you say, you are bloody sadist. Hinata yelled at him. Several cups of water later. Hinata was actually feeling surprisingly better. She could actually see straight now. Looks like you're better now, Sai commented. Go and take a bath first, Naruto ordered. No. Do the jutsu now. Why? You're sober now, right? Or are you still so drunk that you actually need my help to help you undress? In response, Hinata kicked him in the shin and left the room to take her bath and an amused smile to form on Sai's face. Dare laugh and I'll kick your ass, Sai. That kept his mouth shut. Minutes later, Hinata appeared out of the bathroom, dressed and refreshed. Alright, my chakra is finally restored completely so I can do the jutsu now. Hinata nodded, closed her eyes and soon felt Naruto's hand on her head. A warm sensation filled her as his chakra began to flow into her. Slowly the pain behind her eyes began to ebb. Soon she felt the flow of Naruto's chakra stop and opened her eyes. There, I didn't have to do much. You were already mostly recovered because of the water since you weren't dehydrated. In response, Hinata punched Naruto, making him fall in his nose to bleed. The punch was for being the damn sadist that you are, she told him before leaving the room. Sai chuckled, Naruto, is it me or is your nose actually bleeding from Hinata's punch? Shut the FCK up, Sai. As Kakashi walked Sasuke home, he noticed that Sasuke was looking even more emo than usual, and that was saying something. Are you sad that Naruto isn't here? What? No, of course not. Kakashi smirked at Sasuke's flushed face, it's okay if you are though. I mean, Naruto is a fine young man. Before Sasuke could even respond to that, she noticed a familiar person walking out the alley nearby. Hey you. Sai turned and mentally groaned, what could she want? What? Where's Naruto? At home. What did you need him for? That's none of your business. Sasuke scowled and Sai remained neutral. So how do you even know Naruto? Kakashi asked out of curiosity. We're friends, now I'm in a hurry, can I go now? Kakashi nodded and Sai continued on his way with Sasuke glaring at his back. Are you mad that Naruto never mentioned Sai to you? Why should I? The idiot can friend whoever he wants. With that, Sasuke stomped off, but she did leave a very amused Kakashi chuckling at her actions. Teasing Sasuke was becoming a very fun hobby for him now. Bara. Sand coffin. AITTYKAT0611. Screams. Time. Shit. Naruto go save her. Naruto. Nods and runs after Gaara. Time. Fuck, I hope she lives. Time. I do not own Naruto. Hey Sasuke. Hey, Kakashi-sensei. Sasuke and Kakashi turned to see Naruto running toward them. Obe Sasuke greeted. Naruto Kakashi nodded to him before going back to reading his precious book. So Sasuke, ready to see Sakura? Naruto asked his teammate. It's been a whole month since she was admitted, commented Kakashi. Sasuke sighed, a whole month since I've turned into a girl. Naruto nodded. But is it really okay to bring me along for this, Naruto? I mean. Sakura insists that you come, Sasuke, she wants to talk to you. Sasuke frowned, about what? Naruto shrugged, don't know. Sasuke frowned even more at his answer, what could Sakura want? Naruto opened the door and found Sakura all dressed and ready to leave. Sakura was dressed in a red halter top that had her clan symbol on the front, a green miniskirt, red suede shoes that matched her top, and a green headband that matched her skirt. Currently, she had her back facing him as she was busy packing up all the gifts she received during her time in the hospital. Naruto noticed that the halter top she was wearing had no back. Wow, Sakura has back. Very nice. In his mind, Naruto was grinning like a Cheshire cat at the nice view he was getting of Sakura's back. Sakura. Kakashi called, startling Naruto slightly. Sakura turned and saw her teammates and sensei. Damn, she turned. You guys came? Kakashi nodded, Sasuke too. Immediately, Sakura's eyes darted to Sasuke. She took the moment to study her. Sasuke was wearing a dark blue tank top and a black tux vest. To go along with it, she wore navy blue skinny jeans and black boots. Her long hair was let down and it flowed down her back like a waterfall. Sakura also noticed that she wore a pendant similar to the Uchiha symbol on a silver chain. Wow, Sasuke, you really are better looking as a girl than a guy, Sakura commented. Sasuke's sweat dropped, why does everyone keep saying that? Hey Sasuke. Sasuke looked up, yeah. Since you're a girl now and everything, do you think we can be friends? Sasuke was surprised, but then again, she was a girl now so she didn't have any fangirls anymore. Unless of course, some of her fangirls were bisexual. The very idea made Sasuke want to hurl. Sasuke. Well, I guess it's okay. Really? I guess. Great. Sakura smiled brightly, making Naruto smile too. He was glad that his two teammates would learn to become friends now. On their way to Sakura's house, Naruto and Sakura were talking amongst themselves while Kakashi took the moment to gather his thoughts about his recently discharged pupil. Suddenly, a memory flashed back to him. Flashback. Kakashi was just about to open the door to visit Sakura when he heard her mother's from inside. You want me to train you on our clan's techniques? Yes. Why? I want to take my ninja training more seriously. Really? Sasayaki Haruno asked, the surprise evident in her voice. At first, the only reason I became a ninja was for the sake of the clan and to be closer to Sasuke, but now, thanks to Naruto, I have a reason. Naruto-kun. He was always so nice to me and even though I always hit him, he always smiled. I want to be useful to him, he helped me through my trauma and I want to repay him. I want to become a ninja that would be useful to him. I see from the sound of her voice, Kakashi could tell that she was smiling when she said that. Alright then, I'll train you. Oh, thank you, mother. Deciding not to ruin the family moment, Kakashi left, deciding to visit Sakura later. End of flashback. Naruto really does change people. Naruto. Sakura. Kakashi looked up to see Ino Yamanaka waving to them. Ino. Sakura greeted happily. Sakura Ino greeted back with a smile, remembering the time when Sakura requested to see her. Flashback. I'm sorry. Ino frowned, sorry for what? Sorry for breaking our friendship back at the academy over Sasuke. It was stupid. I'm sorry, you were a great friend and I broke our precious friendship over a guy. I'm really sorry. Ino was shocked to see that Sakura was crying now. Ino, could you ever forgive me? I could, but only if we become what we were before. Sakura's eyes widened, you still want to be friends? If you think you're ready for it. Why yes. Absolutely. 1,000 times yes. Sakura jumped out of her bed and hugged Ino, causing Ino smile softly. She had her friend back. End of flashback. Hey, where's Sasuke? Ino asked, noticing that Sasuke wasn't with them. Ah-chan called her and said that it was time for her checkup. Ino nodded, well I have to get going, my shift at the shop is about to start soon. Sakura smiled, alright, bye Ino. Ino smiled back and ran off, waving goodbye as she left. But Sasuke. Tsunade smiled, congratulations Sasuke, everything is fine. Okay, that's good then. Sasuke replied impassively. By the way, I have a surprise for you. Sasuke arched an eyebrow at that, a surprise. You can come in now Tenshi. At that moment, a beautiful woman entered the room. She was as tall as Kakashi and she had this long powder blue hair that ended at her waist. Her creamy white skin reminded Sasuke of swans or alabaster, flushing faintly pink over the cheekbones. Sasuke could have described her to be like an angel at that point until she saw her eyes. When Sasuke saw her eyes, she felt a chill went up her spine when she saw them. Her blue eyes reminded Sasuke of ice, she felt like that those blue eyes could freeze a soul. The Kenyachi in front of her was wearing single light blue colored off-the-shoulders kimono that extended to halfway down her thighs, with a white sash tied around her waist. She wore a fishnet over her shoulders and fishnet gloves. The long-sleeved kimono was the same color as her eyes and showed off all her curves. Sasuke also noticed that she wore her forehead protector like a headband, similar to Sakura, and its cloth was black unlike Sasuke's where hers was a dark blue. On her feet, she wore knee-high black boots. Uchiha Sasuke. Her voice was soft but clear. Sasuke nodded, blushing slightly because she had been staring at her for quite some time. Then she smiled and held out her hand, and Sasuke took it, shaking it. Sasuke realized how warm and soft her hands were. Then she let go and performed a hand seal, meet me on the hospital once you're done. And with that she disappeared as many Sakura petals fluttered the room. Wow Sasuke couldn't help but say. She will be your new trainer. Sasuke's eyes widened, seriously. Tsunade nodded, she's a well-known assassin and our best Kenyachi in the village. Her teachings would be useful to you. Also, make sure to call her sensei you hear. She deserves respect. Sasuke nodded and that's when she remembered that her new sensei was waiting for her. After a quick bow at Tsunade, she ran out of the room to head for the rooftop. On the rooftop. Okay, let's start with introductions. Just say what you like, dislike, your dreams and hobbies. That kind of stuff. Tenshi said. Sasuke nodded. And don't give me any vague stuff, I really want to know more about you alright. Sasuke frowned but complied anyway, my name is Sasuke Uchiha. My hobbies are training and taking walks. My favorite foods are omyasubi with akaka and tomatoes and I hate natme and anything sweet. I dislike loud people and noises, I rather silence more than anything. And I hate dogs, I much prefer cats. Also, I don't really have a dream, it's more of an ambition, I want to kill a certain someone. Uchiha Itachi. Sasuke nodded. Alright, my turn. My hobbies include training, reading and teasing people. My favorite food is dango and I hate cold tea. I like my friends, anyone with a good sense of humor and learning new things. I hate perverts, traitors, anyone who dares to hurt my friends, people that think women are weak, and girls that give Kenyachi a bad name. My dream is to help you archive your ambition. Sasuke noticed a bitter expression on the older girl's face when she mentioned her dream, did you know Itachi? I did but he's a traitor now and that's all that matters. Sasuke nodded, hey, how old are you? I'm 18. She's as old as Itachi. Maybe they were in the same genin team or something. Anyway, I'll see you tonight Sasuke. And with that, she disappeared in a puff of smoke, leaving behind a very confused Sasuke. What did she mean, she'll see me tonight? Sasuke asked aloud. And that's when Sasuke remembered what was going to happen that night, the summer festival. Oh crap I don't have a kimono. Sasuke groaned, realizing that she had to go buy one. Great just great. Naruto. Where's Sasuke? Sasuke. Comes in soaking wet. Ara. What happened to you? Sasuke. Someone threw me into a lake, strapped to my bed. Haim. Whistling innocently. Sasuke. I hate you Haim. Haim. I know. I love you too Sasuke-chan. Sasuke. Don't call me Sasuke-chan. Haim. Pout. Sasuke. What's up with you? Haim. Nobody offered a torture for you guys. Sasuke. And that's bad. Haim. Yes. I need my entertainment. Sasuke. Freak. Sasuke. Swear drops nothing. Naruto. Haim-chan does not own me. Tonight was the night. Tonight was the Konoha's summer festival. The summer air was hot, making it nearly impossible to enjoy the summer festival in a yukata. Naruto tugged on his dark orange yukata's cloth to reveal more of his bare chest that had beads of sweat dripping down the path of tanned skin to his stomach. He was waiting by the dango booths for Sakura and Sasuke, who was running 15 minutes late. Crap I hate to wait. The heat was unbearable and he felt like he was being suffocated. It couldn't possibly get any hotter. Hello, Naruto. Naruto turned to see Kakashi standing next to him. Even though it was a festival, Kakashi still wore his Jounin uniform. Sensei. Why don't you wear a yukata? Or a kimono? It's a festival. It's too hot to wear one, Naruto. Naruto frowned at the gray-haired Jounin until he heard his name being called. Naruto. Naruto turned and his eyes widened. Whoa. Sakura and Sasuke looked amazing. Sakura wore a beautiful red kimono with pink cherry blossoms flowing across it. Her hair was tied up in a clean bun and a few shiny pink strands fell loose across her forehead. Her green eyes just shone with excitement. Sasuke had left her hair down. It practically shone in the moonlight. She was wearing a dark blue kimono which had a pattern of white flowers on the lower half and in a sort of pattern that it looked like the flowers were blowing away in the wind as she walked. Naruto, don't drool, Kakashi told him. Naruto ignored him and smiled, you girls look great. Sakura and Sasuke blushed and thanked him shyly. Shall we get going? Asked Kakashi. The students nodded and they set off. When they reached the festival, they could already hear the sound of music playing and the sound of everyone having a good time. There were a lot of people at the festival and they tried to look around to see if they could see any familiar faces around, but they couldn't see anyone among the mass crowd of people. They spent a few minutes walking around until they heard someone calling Naruto's name. Naruto. Team 7 turned to see the rest of the Konoha 12 at the Dango booth. Naruto grinned and waved, guys. When they got closer, Naruto noticed 3 familiar people with them as well. Gaara. Kankuro. Temari. Gaara's lips twitched into a smile, seeing his friend, Naruto. How have you been? And immediately, Naruto and the Sand siblings were conversing. Suddenly, a woman called out to them. Hey. Konoha Rookie 12. They all turned to see Tsunade and Shizune coming toward them who were in their usual clothes. Ah-chan. Tsunade smiled, an orange yukata looks good on you, don't you agree, Ino? Asked a smirking blonde Hokage. Ino blushed, yeah. Tenten and Temari smirked while Sakura and Sasuke frowned in displeasure. Sasuke especially. Earlier that night, Sasuke was out shopping for a kimono and happened to have met Sakura and her mother along the way. With their help, she managed to find the perfect kimono. And tonight, seeing Naruto smiling and wearing a yukata which bared his chest was so worth it. It's the Maiko dancers. Tenten cheered, snapping Sasuke back to reality. She and the others turned to see the large float down the strip of road. Sasuke was mesmerized by the sight of the painted women and their elegant movements to the beats of the drums. He almost felt himself pulled into a trance from their graceful movements, slowly seeing the story their bodies were telling. Naruto, who noticed this, smiled softly to himself as he was glad that Sasuke was taking some interest in what was going on. He thought she might get bored, knowing how she was in type of social events. He watched the dance with her as the float passed. Hello, old hag. Tsunade heard someone addressing her and looked up. Akuma. Sasuke looked up as well, and almost immediately, she felt every drop of blood in her body migrated to her face. Wow. The man before her was wearing a very sleek kimono, which was golden in color and covered with deep dark red flames. The clothes were elegant and loose, which promised a masculine body underneath. Sasuke took a deep intake of breath to compose herself and to take a closer look at him. He had sun-kissed skin, long crimson hair pulled into a ponytail at the nape of his neck and black slighted crimson eyes that made Sasuke shiver slightly. His eyes somewhat reminded her of her new sensei. Her sensei's eyes could freeze a person's soul, but this person's eyes could burn a person's soul. His eyes were like flames of fire. And that's when Sasuke noticed that he was smirking in amusement and was looking at her. Like what you see, Uchiha. Sasuke's face flamed and looked away, and no. This only caused the red-haired man to smirk even wider, oh really? But before he could get closer to her, a voice from behind stopped him. Don't tease my new student Akuma. Akuma sighed as his friend came to stand next to him and greet Sasuke. I told you we'll see one other tonight, didn't I, Sasuke? Sasuke's eyes widened when she recognized her. Tenshi-sensei. Tenshi was indeed a thing of beauty, no doubt about it. Her hair was tossed up, held together by 2 long golden hairpins that had light and dark blue ornaments dangling from their base, while a few of her smaller strands fell alongside her cheeks. She smiled up at her with her icy blue eyes of hers. Tenshi's kimono was light blue, matching her eyes. Dark blue embroidered dragons ran up and down the edges of it. Its claws and teeth were silver and his eyes gold. To Sasuke, the dragons almost seemed alive to her. Her kimono was short and ended at mid-thigh, allowing for anyone's eyes to linger at her creamy skin and well-toned legs. The kimono also revealed her shoulders, where it bared her flawless, noble-looking skin. On her feet, she wore golden high heels. Tenshi really was a stunning woman. Looking at both Akuma and Tenshi, they just looked amazing standing next to each other. Are you two dating? Asked Ino. Akuma groaned and jerked a thumb in Tenshi's direction. Oh god no, who wants to date this troublesome woman? Then she glared at him and Akuma ignored her in response. Anyway, it's nice to see that the two of you managed to make it, Akuma, Tenchi Tsunade greeted. Akuma smiled and Sakura gasped, why you have fangs? Yup, why? You want me to bite you he asked, smiling at her seductively causing Sakura to blush. Kitsune. Stop being such a bloody Casanova already. Akuma turned and poked his friend on the forehead, and you don't pout Mr. Goku. Then she stuck her tongue out at him and Akuma rolled his eyes. Are you a vampire or something? Tenten asked curious about his fangs. Nah, I was born with them. Shizune shook her head, the handsome devil and the beautiful angel. God, just why can't you two just date already? Tenchi and Akuma rolled their eyes in unison. I'd rather die. At that, Naruto and Hinata turned to each other, sharing a secret smile. Akuma and Tenchi were just covers Naruto and Hinata used when they had to make public appearances. The two posing as their counterparts were blood clones which took practically 3/4 of their chakra, it was tiring to keep them, but they were the best to use in such situations. Tsunade had wanted Tenchi and Akuma to make a public appearance at the festival, as she had wanted the both of them to perform. This summer festival was a special one as it was 25-year anniversary which helped convince Naruto and Hinata to make the clones. Anyway, I want cotton candy. Come on Akuma. And with that, she grabbed her friend's hand and dragged him to where the cotton candy stand was. Naruto grinned, she's got an idea. Let's have some fun guys. Naruto's friends nodded. Time to some fun. Time. I've decided. Sasuke. On. Time. Smirks evilly. Sasuke. Sweat drop what are you? Time. Now Sai. Sai. Brings out his ink animals which starts chazzing Sasuke. Sasuke. Fuck you to hell Haim. Haim. Love you too Sasuke-chan. Ino approached Naruto, blushing furiously, Naruto. I was wondering whether you would be my escort. Before Naruto could respond, his pink-haired teammate stopped him. Wait Naruto. I wanted. Forehead. Go away. I'm talking to Naruto. Yelled Ino, angry that Sakura had interrupted her. Sakura scowled, but before she could retort she heard a snort from her side. What are you laughing at Sasuke? Ino asked, irritated. Just how stupid you both look fighting she answered smugly. Sakura rolled her eyes, oh like you weren't going to ask him yourself. Sasuke's cheeks tinted red at that point. Whatever. Naruto sweat dropped at the scene and turned when he heard a familiar snicker next to him. He turned to see that it was Sai, wearing a formal black yukata. What are you doing here? Naruto asked. I'm hurt Naruto, don't you want me here? It's just that. You. Sai looked at the finger pointing at Chiha, what do you want big breasts? Immediately, time seemed to stop as the rookie 12 all turned to see what Sasuke's reaction would be. It was so silent, you could hear a pin drop. Asuma leaned over to Kakashi, a smirk playing in his lips. $10 she rips his head off. He muttered and Kakashi smirked sadistically under his mask, $10 she uses Chidori on him. Deal. They answered at the same time, turning again to see the show as they shook hands. I'll kill you. Naruto tried calming Sasuke down, Mama Sasuke. Don't get hasty. But Sasuke wasn't listening, Sai had hurt her pride and she was going to make him pay dearly for it. Her Sharingan eyes burned with intense fury as she glared at the black-clad man before her. Give me your best shot Sai challenged. Letting out a startled cry, Naruto pulled Sasuke into a headlock, preventing the dark-haired girl from charging at him. Come on Sasuke. Cool it. Hinata sweat dropped, please Sasuke. Sai is just difficult. I'm so sorry about him. Sasuke frowned and turned to look at Hinata, how do you even know him? I met Sai-kun before when him and Naruto-kun were hanging out once. Sasuke sighed as she let her eyes go back to Obsidian Onyx, much to the disappointment of Asuma and Kakashi. Fine. Naruto released her from his hold and beamed. Thanks Sasuke. Sai frowned, HN. Sasuke glared at him in response. Naruto then turned to look at Sai, suspicious, so did you come here just to piss of Sasuke or? Not just, I wanted to see whether you and Hinata were free, I wanted to spend some time together at the festival. Sure Sai-kun said Hinata stepping forward. But Hinata. We were supposed to spend this festival with each other as teams. Whined Kiba. Sai deadpanned when he saw Hinata looking guilty and sighed. Fine go off and have your little fun. Sai-kun. You could always join the festival with my team Naruto offered. No. Yelled Sasuke and Sakura in protest. Naruto sweat dropped and Sai clicked his tongue. DCH, the girls just love Naruto, don't they? He said turning to Hinata. Hinata just giggled in response, making Sai smile a bit. Hinata looked pretty. She was dressed in a beautiful white kimono with lavender flowers embroidered in the hem and a matching colored underrobe, while the obi contrasted it with its light purple obi. Her night dark tresses were twisted into an elegant bun with a lovely ivory comb with a spray of lavender flowers on the end. She had never been so beautiful. Sai. Yo Sai. Sai looked up, a scowl on his face. What? He was pissed that Naruto had pulled him out of his little dream world. Naruto however was frowning. He found it odd that Sai was looking at Hinata with such a soft look in his eyes. Could it be Okage-sama? Swan turned to see a ninja bowing down to her. Yes. Akuma-sama and Tenshi-sama are ready to perform. Tsunade smiled, perfect. Tenshi-sensei is going to perform? Sasuke asked. Shizu nodded, how about you lot come and watch? The two of them are fantastic performers. Sai smirked, why not? The Konoha 12 agreed and followed the two women to a huge stage in the central square. Wow, Ino couldn't help but say when she saw how crowded the square was. There was huge stage built right before them. Tsunade went up to the stage and greeted the citizens. People of Konoha. We are gathered here today to celebrate 25 years of celebrating the summer festival. Tonight is truly special as we have our two infamous elite ninja, Akuma Kitsune and Jigoku Tenshi to perform for us tonight. Immediately, the crowd that had gathered cheered hearing the names of the performers. First up is Akuma Kitsune. The crowd looked in awe when the curtains opened and there was Akuma and next to him was a clone of himself. They were both wearing the same costume, a black and red mandarin vest and matching black pants. They were both barefoot as well and a scarf was tied around their waist. The drums started to roll and then it began. The fire moved between the two Akumas, never touching them as they threw torches into the air and back and forth. The flames reached out towards the crowd, daring them to come closer. The fire licked the bare skin of the Akumas, never burning them. They danced around blowing fire into the air, juggling burning torches, and doing tricks. The crowd was hypnotized. The little children smiled and clapped as their mothers and fathers held them, watching as the show came to an end. Everyone clapped and cheered as the two Akumas bowed, smiles plastered to their faces. The two clones waved to the ecstatic crowd as they left the stage. Now, Jigoku Tenshi. The curtain opened to reveal Tenshi there, wearing some sort of beaded costume that resembled a bathing suit. The bikini-style top had hundreds of short strands of beads along every edge, as did the small triangular shawl that she had tied around her waist. The costume matched perfectly with the powder blue color of her hair. The soft beat of the drum pounded in the audience's ears as Tenshi rose from her crouching position on the floor. Candles were placed on the floor around her feet to illuminate her body as she moved to the music playing in the background. Her ankle-length skirt swirled around her as she spun around and then stopped abruptly, the beads at the bottom making a clicking sound. She slowly slid down into a split, her hands making circular motions in the air above her head. As soon as she was fully straddling the floor, she swung her back leg around and laid flat on her back, her skirt that was slid up to her thighs falling in between her legs. Tenshi arched her back upward, curling into a ball before snapping up quickly, her ponytail swinging at the sudden movement. Spinning around again, she jumped into the air, bending her legs at the knee and putting her arms into the air. Finally, she slid down to the floor onto her side and lay still as the music died down behind her. The hushed silence fell over the crowd as Tenshi stood up and bowed, then a thunderous applause followed suit as the curtains closed. And finally, the final dance of the night. The curtains opened again revealing Akuma and Tenshi, but this time, dressed differently. Akuma was wearing a red yukata that matched his eyes, whilst Tenshi was wearing a traditional kimono, a deep shade of blue with rose blossom imprints on it, which complemented her eyes too. Akuma took out a flute from his sleeve and began to play as Tenshi danced along to it. The sound it made was simply astounding. Akuma's fingers moved like liquid over the many individual air holes, whilst Tenshi danced to the music as graceful as a ballerina herself. Tenshi's long velvet powder blue hair was tied up elegantly in a long ponytail with a silky piece of white ribbon, though a few locks of hair were left dangling around her pretty face. Her icy blue eyes seemed to sparkle under the light as she played with the fan skillfully in her delicate hands. She moved gracefully across the stage, without any rush movements. All eyes were glued to the beauty in the front with awe and admiration. The square was pitch silence as no one spoke. Each note Akuma played and each step Tenshi was doing looked like a performance done by angels themselves, singing and dancing in harmony. Their entire performance was simply breathtaking and hypnotizing. Finally, the performance came to an end and the audience erupted into cheers. Akuma and Kitsune bowed and the curtains closed. Wow, they were amazing, Tamari said. The others nodded, entranced. They were so cool, breathed Tenten. Sasuke felt like she couldn't breathe, they were amazing, so fluid, so. And I'm going to be trained by Tenshi-sensei too. Suddenly, Sasuke felt someone grab her hand and pull her away from the others. Hey. The rookie 12 all turned to see someone pulling Sasuke away from them and disappearing into the crowd. Sasuke. What happened? Ino asked. Don't worry, she'll be fine. Sai assured her. And how do you know that? Niji asked. Because Tenshi took her. Naruto frowned and turned to whisper to Hinata. What is your clone doing? Nothing you need to worry about. Naruto shot him a skeptical look, but Hinata ignored it. She better not cause trouble, Naruto warned. There's nothing to stress over, she'll be fine. I hope so, thought Naruto. Naruto. Where's Kakashi? Sasuke. Why do you care? Naruto. It's his turn to do the disclaimer. Sasuke. Haim took him. Naruto. Grown, then I have to do it. Sasuke. Too damn bad. Naruto. Scowl, Haim does not own me. Tenshi-sensei. Sasuke asked, surprised when the person who grabbed her hand finally turned to show her face. Hello, Sasuke, she greeted as she let go of her hand and let her own fall back to her side. How is the festival so far for you? Are you enjoying yourself? Sasuke nodded. Tenshi smiled, well, that's good to hear. Why? Tenshi's eyes blinked at the question, excuse me? Why? Why do you care? Why? Tenshi smiled even wider at Sasuke. Because you're so cute. Eh? Sasuke gave her a WTF face, but Tenshi still smiled. That's it? Well, no, it's because you're my cute student. And with that, she wrapped her arms around Sasuke and hugged her. Immediately Sasuke felt like she was having difficulty breathing. Boy, Tenshi. You're going to kill her if you keep hugging her like that. Tenshi opened her eyes to see that Sasuke's face was blue and was opening and closing her mouth several times to speak. Oh, sorry. Immediately, Tenshi dropped Sasuke, making her fall on her butt. Sasuke cursed under her breath and was about to make herself get up but stopped when she heard a voice. Here. Sasuke looked up to see an evenly tanned reaching for hers. She looked up to see that it was Akuma. She stared at him, making Akuma become impatient, so he grabbed her hand and pulled her to her feet. You alright? Tenshi asked, worried. I'm fine, Sasuke replied as she dusted off her kimono. Sasuke. Oh, Sasuke. Where are you? Sasuke's eyes widened before looking around frantically, looking for the source of that loud voice. It's Naruto. Looks like your friend is calling you. Akuma said. Sasuke nodded, right, but I have something to ask sensei first before I leave. Then she blinked, something to ask. Yeah, when do I start my training with you? Every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. 7 p.m. sharp. We start next week. Sasuke nodded before turning to leave, well, goodbye then. Boy. Ichiha. Sasuke turned to look at Akuma, what? Make sure to turn up on time or Tenshi will give you her Spartan training. Immediately when her partner said that, Tenshi pinched his cheek hard. What did you say, huh? Sasuke couldn't help it, she smirked at the two before continuing to leave. However, Tenshi and Akuma didn't notice as they were too busy arguing. Sasuke. Where have you been? Naruto demanded, much like a stern father when his daughter arrives home late in the night. Tenshi-sensei just wanted to talk, that's all. Tenshi? Sakura asked. You mean that blue-eyed woman from earlier? Sasuke nodded. You called her sensei. Sasuke looked up at Kakashi with an raised eyebrow, yeah so? But you never called me sensei. He whined, completely out of character. Sasuke sweat dropped, I only do because the Hokage told me to. That's all it took. Sasuke nodded, making Kakashi and Aim fall and her teammates to sweat drop. By the way, where are the others? Asked Sasuke. They all left to go have fun in their teams. Sakura answered. Sasuke nodded and Naruto grinned. And now that Sasuke's here, let's go have our fun. He excitedly said as he wrapped an arm around her. Sasuke immediately blushed while Sakura pouted but joined in as well by grabbing onto Naruto's free arm. Then let's go then. You lied to her. Then she whirled around to look at her partner, what? You were actually worried because the last time Sasuke went on a festival was when she was with her family. Tenshi said nothing and turned away, but Akuma continued. You wanted to make sure she was okay, that's why you called her out, right? Gritting her teeth, she stormed off but yelled to Akuma one last thing, just shut up, Akuma. Akuma smirked at her, retreating back. HN, right on the mark. She really does still care for Sasuke. Haim enters, skipping happily as she went. Naruto. What did you do to Kakashi? Haim. Oh, I stripped him until he was only in his boxers, hogtied him and tossed him into the female baths. A week after the festival, Sasuke reported to Team 7's training ground early to wait for her new sensei to arrive, but instead to her surprise, Tenshi was already there, waiting for her. Good morning, Sasuke. Morning, she greeted back, noticing that she was dressed in the same outfit she had first met her in. Okay, Sasuke, first I need to ask you, have you tried any training on your own since your checkup? Sasuke nodded, yes. I've got Kakashi to spar with me. He told me that even though my limbs are shorter, my speed and agility had increased, making it harder to land hits. If he didn't have the Sharingan, he doubted he could keep up with me. Then she nodded, noting that Sasuke had spoke with a tinge of pride in her face. She must like the benefits of having a female body than a male one. But what? Tenchi asked, noticing Sasuke's frustrated expression. He said I'm not as strong as back then when I land hits though. Tenchi laughed, is that all? No problem. We'll get you into shape in no time. But for now, first thing I want you to do is to punch a tree. There was a moment of silence. Excuse me? Sasuke finally asked. You heard me. Sasuke frowned but complied. She went over to one of the trees in the area and punched. She screamed in extreme pain when she felt her hand hurt and drew back immediately. Out of all trees, you choose the biggest and toughest one to punch. Nice pick. Sasuke turned to glare at her, but Tenchi ignored it and went over to pick up Sasuke's bruised hand to examine it. Sasuke was surprised when she saw her bruised hand glow green and felt the pain ebbing away. What did you do? Medical ninjutsu. I'll teach you once we're done with your physical training. Physical training? I don't need any. Why should I? You can't even beat a tree and you still say that you don't need any. Tenchi retorted. Sasuke frowned, irritated. Tenchi dropped Sasuke's hand and took out some cloths and bandages from her pocket. Tie these around your fingers and palm like a bandage. Sasuke followed her instructions word for word but didn't understand the reason behind these actions. Noting Sasuke's frustration, Tenchi explained. For today, I'll give you some simple exercises that will test your physical body and tire you out but won't hurt you much. First, I'll expect you to improve the power of your punches. I want you to continuously punch this tree, indicating the big tree behind Sasuke, until you leave a dent at least half an inch thick into the tree. The cloths are to protect your knuckles and fingers from bruising too much. Sasuke frowned, why can't I punch this tree? She asked, pointing to the one that had given her an injured hand. Then she smirked at her and slammed her open palm onto the tree. The sudden impact sent slight shockwaves into the ground and plenty of leaves started falling from the said tree. When Tenchi finally removed her hand, a finely detailed handprint was revealed on the surface of the tree. It had a dent 1 inch deep from the surrounding bark. Sasuke underwent pure shock at her sensei's show of power. There was absolutely no chakra involved in that slam. See now why I want you to practice. Sasuke nodded, still dumbfounded by her slam. When you're done with the tree, you are to run 100 laps around Konoha, 2,000 push-ups, 5,000 sit-ups, and 2,000 tree sit-ups. Sasuke's jaw dropped in shock, that many? Then she nodded, now get to it, especially if you want to finish before nighttime. Sasuke sighed, but went off to start her nightmare workout. Tenchi watched the entire time, making sure she wasn't hurt or injured during so. When Sasuke finally finished, she let herself fall backward onto the grass to rest her aching limbs and muscles. I've never been pushed this hard before. She closed her eyes to let her exhaustion take over and immediately slipped into unconsciousness. Then she walked over and picked up the sleeping girl. Time to take her home. Sasuke awoke to find that she was in her bed in her own bedroom, but her clothes changed. She was now dressed in a black camisole and shorts. My clothes? She turned and noticed a note on her dressing table. She picked it up and began to read. Sasuke. The job today. I've changed your clothes for you because they stank of sweat and your ones from earlier are in the laundry. Make sure to get plenty of rest. I'll see you the day after tomorrow, same time and same place. Bigoku Tenshi. Sasuke frowned at how she had described her clothes to smell but put down the note back on the table. She fell back against her pillow and burrowed underneath the blankets, reveling in the cool comforting sheets. She soon fell asleep, surrendering to the call of her bed. The next day, Naruto decided to visit Sasuke and ask her on how her training went. Hinata had already told him, but Naruto still wanted to check on his teammate. The door was unlocked so he let himself in. He found her in her bedroom, sleeping but she was sweating a lot and she looked to be having a nightmare. Hasan. Must be a nightmare of the night of the massacre. I have to wake her up, Naruto thought, closing his eyes. Sorry. He slapped her, hard. Peeking out of one eye, he saw Sasuke's eyes open. She gingerly touched her cheek that was beginning to turn red and winced. Bastard, you would actually hit a girl in her sleep. She growled. You were having a bad nightmare, Naruto told her. Sasuke's eyes widened slightly, why you saw? Not much. Before Sasuke could respond, she sneezed loudly into Naruto's shirt, covering Naruto with a mixture of saliva and mucus. Needless to say, Naruto was not amused but kept his cool. He then noticed that the normally snow-white skin face of Sasuke's was paler than usual and shining with a thin layer of sweat, her eyes seemed abnormally bright too. A quick check of her temperature and a few minutes of listening to her cough and sniffle confirmed his suspicions. Sasuke had caught a cold. You're sick. Like I haven't figured that out, dope. Sasuke started to cough violently and Naruto watched in silence. He wondered vaguely what it was like to be sick. The Kyuubi had always made his immune system incredibly strong, so the most he ever got was a cough for a day or so, or a runny nose. Nothing serious. Where's your bathroom? Naruto asked. Why? Sasuke's widened when she realized that she sounded like a dying frog when she just spoke, but it did make Naruto laugh. "Naruto, you bastard, don't laugh. It's just a tad case of laryngitis. You'll be fine in a few days." Naruto finally said, "Besides, I think it's cute." In his mind, Naruto smirked when Sasuke blushed a pretty red. "Ah, idiot. Don't jokes with me." Sasuke screamed out, making her voice sound sadly like Minnie Mouse. She immediately covered her mouth. "Damn it." Naruto smirked and took a mental note to make Sasuke blush more often. His smirk immediately disappeared when he saw that Sasuke's eyes were fluttering. "Hey Sasuke. Don't." He went over and caught Sasuke from falling, who was deadly close to hitting her head on her bedpost. Sasuke, however, seemed to have no intention of waking up anytime soon. Instead, she subconsciously snuggled deeper into her source of warmth, Naruto's arm. Naruto fought to fight down a blush. "Well damn. Hope you enjoy the chapter. I do not own Naruto." Sasuke awoke to find herself dressed differently from before. Instead of the black camisole and shorts Tenchi had changed her into, she was now wearing a white camisole and shorts. "Who changed my clothes?" Suddenly, Sasuke heard a sound from outside, so she quickly got out of bed to take a look. When she got to the door, she opened it slowly to get a peek of what was happening outside. From her view, she saw Naruto's naked back facing her. Immediately, her face flamed. Why isn't he wearing a shirt? That's when she remembered that she had sneezed on his shirt and felt her face redden even more with her embarrassment. Once her face had cooled down, Sasuke turned back to look at Naruto again and realized that something was on his back. A tattoo. Curious, she took a step forward to get a closer look, but unlucky for her, the wooden board she stepped on was creaky and alerted Naruto. Quickly, he turned to see Sasuke peeking out. "Sasuke. You're awake." Ashamed, Sasuke fully opened the door to show herself and noticed that someone else was with Naruto. "Hinata." Hinata smiled, "Hello Sasuke. How are you feeling?" Better thanks. I called Hinata here to help nurse you," Naruto explained. Sasuke nodded. "But why were my clothes changed?" "Oh, that's because you were sweating a lot, so I wiped you down and changed you." "I see. Thanks." "No problem." There was a moment of silence for a minute until Sasuke's stomach began to growl. Embarrassed, Sasuke blushed slightly, causing Naruto and Hinata to chuckle. Hinata smiled reassuringly at Sasuke. "Don't worry Sasuke, I cooked some food for you already. I'll just heat it up, okay?" Sasuke nodded and thanked her before making her way to the dinner table to wait and take the seat next to Naruto, but as Sasuke sat down, Naruto stood up from his seat. "Well, I'm going to go grab my shirt from the dryer and head home." Sasuke frowned, unhappy, but Naruto saw this, so on his way, he ruffled her hair. "Don't worry Sasuke, I'll visit you again tomorrow." Sasuke scowled at the blonde boy as she fixed her hair. Naruto just grinned and waved goodbye to Hinata as he left. Sasuke on the other hand was deep in thought. "I thought I saw a tattoo on his back earlier, was I wrong? Was it my imagination?" "Here you go Sasuke." Hinata set down the plates of food and cutlery on the table, leaving Sasuke to arrange it herself. "Thanks again Hinata." "It's really no problem Sasuke. I'm just thankful." Hinata smiled and Sasuke smiled a little smile of her own back at her. "I should get going." "Alright, see you." "See you Sasuke. Get well soon." And with that, she left. As Hinata made her way home, she felt a familiar presence nearby. At down from the tree Sai. Sai did so, landing in front of the ex-Hyuga pouting slightly, "You're no fun Hina." Hinata rolled her eyes, "So what is it?" Sai took out a scroll from his pocket and tossed it to her jobs. There was a sparkle in Hinata's eyes as she excitedly opened the scroll, but it immediately vanished when she finished reading it. "Why so few?" Sai shrugged, "Anyway you'd better hop to it. Quite a few has a deadline." Hinata sighed and nodded, "Alright, thanks I guess." "No problem." In a swirl of leaves, Sai was gone and Hinata continued her way home to make preparations. The next day, Sasuke felt fine, so she went to the training ground for her training with Tenchi. She was already there, waiting. "Hey, how are you feeling?" "Better. Thanks for taking me home." "No sweat, however, are you sure you want to continue with the physical training? You just recovered." "I'm fine really." Tenchi frowned, still worried. "Alright. But I'm toning it down this time. So today, you have to run 50 laps around Konoha, 1000 push-ups, 2500 sit-ups, and 1000 tree sit-ups." Sasuke frowned, "That's half of yesterday's." "I'm not going to risk your health Sasuke, now get moving." Sasuke sighed but did as she was told and began. Some time later, Kakashi came to the ground surprising Tenchi. "Haddock-san. To what do I owe the pleasure?" "I need to speak to Sasuke." "About what?" "Well, I was thinking of asking Sasuke of whether or not she'll still be interested in those fire ninjutsu lessons I promised her before." "Well, she's still in the middle of her laps. I'll ask when she's done and get her to get back to you." Alright, thank you Tenchi-san. You're welcome. But that Kakashi turned and went back, leaving Tenchi to ponder. So Kakashi is planning to teach her fire ninjutsu. Well, it is her affinity. I guess it's no harm, but that type of ninjutsu requires a lot of chakra, so I'd better get her some soldier pills, if not, knowing her, she'll tire herself out. Once Sasuke had finished her workout, she once again let herself fall backward onto the grass to rest her aching limbs and muscles. You alright? Sasuke looked up to see Tenchi's angelic face looking down at her. I'm fine, she reassured her as she sat up. Tenchi then took a seat on the grass next to Sasuke. Haddock-san came earlier. Kakashi? What for? He wanted me to ask you whether you're still interested in his fire ninjutsu lessons. Sasuke mentally slapped herself for forgetting. Yes, I am. I see. Then you're going to need these. A small bag was dropped on Sasuke's lap. Curious, Sasuke peeked open the bag to see that it was full of pills. What are these? She asked as she took one to examine it closer. Soldier pills. Specifically, military rations pills. These are special pills that replenish one's chakra and nourish the body. It's made up of powerful stimulants and nutrients, said to allow the user to keep fighting for 3 days and 3 nights without rest. Wow. But don't take too many at one go. It'll be bad for your body. Only in emergencies, when you're really out of energy and chakra. I see. Are there any other pills? Yes, there is the blood increasing pill. It's a pill used by ninja to speed up the formation and increase of blood in the body. After having lost a significant amount of blood in battle, a ninja can use this pill to replenish the blood so they can keep on fighting. That's really useful, commented Sasuke. Aren't they? Smiled Tenchi. So you're giving me these to help with my training, right? Sasuke asked, indicating to the bag Tenchi had just given her. Yup. Train hard, okay? Sasuke nodded, I will. Satisfied, Tenchi got up and tossed another item to Sasuke. Here, these are the bandages you need for your punching exercise. Get to it. Hi sensei. Tenchi was very proud of Sasuke. Sasuke was a fast learner and a hard worker. In an all-out physical battle, Sasuke would have been a good opponent against either Tenchi or Kuma if they got serious. Nonetheless, Tenchi was very happy to see that Sasuke had matured a great deal since he had been transformed. If Sasuke was still a boy, he would have been too stubborn and arrogant to listen to whatever pointers Tenchi would have to offer. But now, he was a girl, and Sasuke had humbled a bit. She paid heed to her instructions carefully and asks her for her opinion on how to improve. Then she could tell Sasuke respected her a great deal, and she herself felt she had grown to like Sasuke as well. Seeing Sasuke panting heavily, Tenchi called her student to stop and approach her. Quickly, Sasuke ran over. Yes, sensei. Then she bent down to Sasuke's height and ruffled her hair. Congratulations. I think it's about time I bump you up to next level. At that, Sasuke smirked, she was finally advancing. Then she straightened her back and grinned, next, we're going to work on you mentally. Sasuke stared her in response, trying to comprehend what she meant. Work on me mentally? She asked, puzzled. Yes. I'm going to teach you medical jutsu like I promised you on the first lesson. Sasuke groaned, but I want to learn ninjutsu from you. Then she was surprised, why? Isn't Haddock-san teaching you all the fire techniques he knows? Well, yes. Then, what's the problem? But I want to learn from you too. I hear you're really powerful. Then she sighed, Sasuke, in terms of ninjutsu, Kakashi is the best to teach you as he not only has the Sharingan, he is also a fire jutsu specialist, which just so happens to be your affinity, so I think your ninjutsu training is pretty much covered. Sasuke sighed in defeat, giving up the argument. Alright, fine. But why medical ninjutsu? How about say weapons? Tenchi was losing patience, so she took a deep breath before speaking again. In order to use weapons, you need to be intelligent in terms of strategy, which medical jutsu can help you with. It's not all about diving in recklessly to kill the other guy, Sasuke. Sasuke frowned, how does weapons have anything to do with strategy? That, I will teach you after your medical ninjutsu training. It's important you learn medical jutsu anyway. All female nins are required to learn it. Sasuke mumbled something under her breath that Tenchi could not catch. Irritated, Tenchi threw a scroll at Sasuke, hoping it would hit her student. But unfortunately, Sasuke's fast reflexes saved her. What is this? A storage scroll. Inside is a book on everything you need to know about medical jutsu by Tsuane-sama. Study the first chapter. I'll be going through it next week. From now on, we meet at the Academy's lecture hall. Understood? Yes. Good, then I'm off. In a blink of an eye, Tenchi performed several hand signs and dispersed into several sakura petals, leaving Sasuke alone. Once the sakura petals had flown away, Sasuke had realized something. How does she even open a storage scroll? Naruto was making his way home when he saw Sasuke walking ahead of him. Hey Sasuke. Sasuke turned around and saw Naruto running toward her, grinning and waving to her excitedly. "Oh," she greeted him once he reached her. "Is that a storage scroll?" Naruto asked when he saw the scroll in her hand. Sasuke blinked, surprised that he knew, "And you know this how?" "Hey. I'm not stupid," countered Naruto. Sasuke smirked, amused, "No offense, but I seriously beg to differ." Naruto stuck his chin up, trying to look smug. "Well, Pervy Sage had been teaching me seals. That's why I know." "Does that mean you know how to open this?" Sasuke asked, holding out the scroll. "Sure do." Excited to show off, Naruto grabbed the scroll from her and opened it on the floor. Inside was a seal. Quickly, Naruto performed the seals as Sasuke watched on, her Sharingan activated. Finally, to finish it off, Naruto slammed his hand on the seal and opened it. With it, a large puff of smoke came about and on top of the scroll, there laid a large book that read Guide to Become Medical Ninjutsu Specialist by Tsunade Senju. Hey. This book was written by Aba-chan. Sasuke's eyes practically bugged out at the size and thickness of the book. She couldn't help but think it would take forever to finish her medical ninjutsu training. "So you finally started, huh?" Naruto asked, breaking Sasuke's train of thought. "What do you mean finally?" "Well, all the other girls already started. Hinata-chan was taught by her mum when she was younger, so she's undergoing special training by Shizune-chan. Sakura-chan, Ino-chan and Ten-Ten-chan started a few months ago. Ba-chan found a lot of potential in Sakura-chan cause she was a fast learner, so Ba-chan took her in as a disciple just recently." Sasuke's jaw dropped. Sakura is Tsunade's disciple. It made sense, she had to admit. Sakura and Tsunade were a lot alike. They both had short tempers, incredible strength, and both had incredibly high IQ. Now that she thought about it, Naruto was being taught by a Sannin too. If Sasuke had succeeded in reaching Orochimaru, that would mean the whole of Team 7 was trained by the Sannin team. Maybe even become the next Sannin. "Sasuke." Sasuke blinked her eyes and looked at Naruto. "What? You're spacing out. Anyway, here's your scroll back." Sasuke was surprised. "You sealed it back already?" "It's easy, just do the seals on how to open it backwards." "Oh okay. Thanks," she said, taking back the scroll. "No prob. I gotta go, I haven't watered my plants today. See you, Sasuke." With that, Naruto sped off, leaving Sasuke in his dust. The dope had matured too. Seriously, it's been hectic. Plus the fact that my brother has yet to give me my new monitor. I need a new one cause my old one is spoiled. Anyway, thanks for being so patient. Now, what kind of top should I wear? Midriff maybe. Ino resisted the urge to sigh, she really didn't want to do this. She wanted to work in the shop today because today was Naruto's work day too. Sakura had begged her yesterday for Ino's fashion advice, and Ino just couldn't say no. Sakura's pleading look was irresistible. "Ino. I'm asking for your opinion here." Ino closed her eyes and replied, "Backless." Sakura looked at her in confusion. "Huh? Honestly speaking, you have a nice back." "Back? I have a nice back." "Yeah, you've got good posture and your back looks smooth enough to touch. Overall, you should wear a backless top to show off that asset." Hey, maybe if you show off your back more you might just get the guy's attention of your flat chest and onto your back." Sakura's face fumed red. "Ino." Ino smirked, she couldn't help it. That comment in her mind just had to be said. Sakura wanted to take the nearest object next to her and throw it at her friend until a thought came to her. Would Naruto like to see her in a backless top? The thought made her blush as she imagined Naruto gaping at her if she wore such a thing. What about bottoms? Ino blinked her eyes in confusion, she was sure Sakura was going to grab something and try to throw it at her in anger, but answered her question anyway. "Definitely not shorts." Sakura frowned. "Why? I've been wearing them for." "You don't have the legs to pull it off, Sakura. Trust me on this." "What's wrong with my legs?" "You would look like a slut anyway, wearing a backless top and shorts." That shut Sakura up. She could imagine it, people calling her whore if she wore such a combo. "Okay, so what should I wear instead?" "3/4 pants definitely," Ino told her, with utmost certainty in her voice. "Any gear?" Sakura asked. "Let's find you that top and pants first." The next day. Naruto had just entered the usual training spot for Team 7 when he heard his name called. "Naruto." Naruto turned to find his pink-haired teammate running over to him. He waited until she caught her breath before speaking to her. "Hey, Sakura-chan. What's up?" he asked. Sakura grinned and gave Naruto a little twirl. "What do you think of my new look?" Naruto looked her up and down, taking in Sakura's new look. From her twirl, Naruto saw that Sakura wore a backless top, similar to the one she wore the last time at the hospital, but the shade of red was different from her usual, it was darker, making it easier for her to camouflage if she were to hide. Her pants were 3/4 long and dark green. She still wore her ninja headband the same and the regulation shinobi sandals and kunai pouch on the thigh, but this time she wore gloves on her hands that matched. All in all, she looked good. When he told her so, Sakura was elated. "Thanks, but it looks like you changed too. For the better too." Naruto grinned. Naruto wore a black sleeveless top with green army 3/4 camouflage pants that had a lot of pockets, perfect for storing extra weapons. He still wore his ninja headband the same and still wore the regulation sandals and kunai pouch on the thigh. Sakura had to say, Naruto was looking really handsome. Until she saw his hands. "Naruto. Why are you still wearing orange?" Naruto was wearing neon orange wristbands. Naruto laughed, "I can't totally give up orange, Sakura-chan. Besides, Kakashi-sensei is just happy enough with the top and pants not being orange anyway." Sakura groaned, she hated the fact that Naruto loved orange. It looked good on him, she admitted, but did he seriously have to use that for ninja wear? He could be killed if he got spotted. "Sakura-chan?" Naruto asked, worried when she stopped talking. "Nothing except." "Except?" Naruto probed. Sakura blushed and in a nervous fashion, she began twirling a strand of her pink hair with her finger. "I was wondering." "Yes? Buljigunadadu with him?" His pink-haired teammate asked in a rush. "What?" Naruto asked. "She's speaking gibberish. Ignore her." Sakura turned to see Sasuke, a calm look expressed over her features, but Sakura could see the annoyed look in Sasuke's eyes. Did Sasuke maybe? "Hey kids." The genin turned to see Kakashi walking over to them. "What's up?" Nothing, answered the girls. "So Naruto, what time do I have to release you so you can get ready for your date with Ino?" Naruto's face flamed red and his teammates turned to gape at the blonde in shock. "Date with who?" Naruto couldn't look at them so he looked down at the ground. "Ino-chan asked me out last week, today's our date." Inner Sakura was on a rampage, that backstabbing bitch. Sasuke's Sharingan eyes activated, they looked ready for a fight. Kakashi sweat dropped at the fuming girls. "Now ladies, Ino did ask Naruto first, so alright goes to her." "I'll kill her," the two girls said in sync, causing Naruto to sweat. "Oh, you guys aren't really gonna." Too late, the girls rushed off, leaving the two males in the dust. Crap, they cursed in their minds before running after them. Ino was walking back to her family's flower shop after completing a delivery but stopped short when two familiar girls came into view, running toward her. Once they had stopped, just inches before her, Ino frowned immediately when she saw the angry look Sakura and Sasuke were giving her. "What's up with you two?" "Don't what's up us?" yelled an angry Sakura. "How could you, Ino?" "How could I what?" asked Ino, clearly confused by Sakura's words. "How could you ask Naruto out on a date when you knew I liked him?" Sasuke nodded her head in agreement before intensifying her glare at Ino, causing the blown girl to roll her eyes. "Seriously? That's what you guys are so hot and bothered about? Oh Kami. It's only a date. Besides, it's not my fault you guys don't have the guts to ask him out." Sakura fumed, "I do too have guts. I was just asking him earlier." Sasuke snorted, "You were speaking too fast for him to even understand you in the first place, Sakura." Sakura felt her face redden, but this time due to embarrassment instead of anger. Well, I was just about to speak clearly until you came." "Sure," was Sasuke's disbelieving reply. Ino shook her head, "Well, since you guys are busy bickering. I'm going now." Ino turned to walk away, but Sasuke had stepped forward and placed a firm hand on Ino's shoulder. "Not so fast." Ino turned, raising an eyebrow at the pale-skinned teen. "Does this mean, Sasuke, that you admit to liking Naruto?" Sasuke felt her cheeks grow warm, but nonetheless answered the question in a small voice. It was only because Ino was so close that she could even hear her. "Yes." My. This makes some good blackmail material for me to use. A familiar voice spoke up. The girls turned to the right, only to see Sai there, smirking with his back against a giant oak tree. Sasuke was the first to catch on, her face then showing a look of horror when she realized what the consequences would be. Sai raised his hand, silencing her. "Let's just go." Sasuke deadpanned immediately. Go? Go where?" Sai just smiled his creepiest smile at her, not answering her question. Sasuke, who just got even more annoyed, was about to yell at the infuriating teen when all of a sudden, a hawk, made out of nowhere, swooped down, used its claws to grab Sasuke by the shoulders, and proceeded to fly away with her. Sai called after the startled teen, "I'll explain things later. Be a good girl and don't wreck anything. My hawk is taking you to my house." Sasuke swore loudly in return, but Sai paid no heed to her and after a polite goodbye wave, Sai got on his way, leaving the two ninja girls alone on the sidewalk. "What just happened?" Sakura shrugged before lunging at Ino to get her payback. "Is it true?" Tsunade looked up from her paperwork to look at the young man who was sitting on her window ledge. He had onyx black eyes, black hair with bangs that framed his face, and a low-tied ponytail. He also had long, pronounced tear troughs under his eyes like his deceased father, Fugaku. I see you're not wearing your Sharingan, Itachi. Itachi gritted his teeth in frustration. That's got nothing to do with my question, Tsunade, and you know it. Besides, you know why. So your vision really is deteriorating? Asked Tsunade. Unfortunately, sighed the double agent. You should stop, Itachi. We can't have you going blind. Itachi didn't answer her, but instead he repeated the question he asked earlier, so is it true? Has. Swan took a deep breath, interrupting Itachi. Yes, Sasuke has really turned into a girl, Itachi. She is no longer your younger brother, Itachi. She's your baby sister now. Itachi was quiet for a moment, processing the information until finally saying something. So you have no idea who did it? Tsunade shook her head, not a clue. It's been months already and the investigation has to stop. I need the ninjas for other missions. Itachi nodded his head in understanding, and Sasuke has handled it well. Not at first. But she's gotten a trainer now. Ah, so she's helped Sasuke just then. Yes. Hinata has been a good friend to Sasuke. Almost immediately, Itachi froze. Hinata. Tsunade nodded. Apparently, Sasuke is beginning to regain her memory as well. Itachi ran a hand down his troubled face but said nothing. The reason why Hinata is training Sasuke in the first place in order to kill you. Tsunade then shot Itachi a calculating stare to see his reaction, but all she got was a bittersweet smile. Good, that was the intention all along. Before Tsunade could respond, Itachi performed several hand signs and then disappeared in a whirlwind of crow feathers. It was raining, thus making it harder for teacher and student to run, but finally, Naruto and Kakashi had managed to reach Sakura and Ino. However, they stopped short at the sight before them. Their eyes widened and their jaws dropped. Naruto was sure he was going to get a nosebleed now. What the hell are they doing? Naruto and Kakashi all stared at the sight before them with shock and horror, but for Naruto, sheer arousal. There, in the mud, was Ino and Sakura, who was wrestling, with their clothes torn and hair in tangles while calling each other names. God forbid. Even though Sakura's top was absent, leaving her chest bare, Sakura didn't care. I'm going to rip all your fucking hair out and stuff it in your asshole, you bitch. Ino scowled at her friend as she screeched at her friend at the insult, unknown to the fact that her clothes was clinging to her like second skin as she wrestled with Sakura in defense. It showed the curves and developments no one has ever seen. Naruto had to swallow at the sight of Ino's despite still in the developing stage, large breasts being smashed up against Sakura's back as she jumps on the commoner girl's back. Kakashi shook his head at Naruto. He was finding two teenage girls arousing. And one of the two's chests was as flat as a wooden board. Has Naruto learning nothing from himself and Jiraiya's teachings? Suddenly, he heard a loud shrill scream. Kakashi looked up to see Sakura on top of a very red-faced Ino, holding up Ino's torn top in the air like a trophy in victory, whilst the embarrassed Kenyachi below her had wrapped her arms around her chest protectively. Luckily, she was wearing a bra. The very sexy push-up bra, Naruto might add. Then, lightning was heard. What if Sasuke is secretly a girl and likes Naruto Sakura bashing? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.